disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead. Shoot.
Just kill those fucking men.
What are you going to do about it?
You're heavy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're heavy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Welcome to BDA Boxing, the Boxing Debate Arena special show because it's late. I mean, for compared to the other shows, we're gonna be taking phone calls and we're gonna be listening to the people, see what they have to say about the Jermell Charlo versus Canelo fight. Is this a mismatch? I'm reading a lot of comments. Some people say it's a good fight. Other people are saying that this is a complete, and I mean complete mismatch. The phone lines are open. The numbers on your screen. Call in. And also we're going to get people on the panel as well. And I'm going to be reading comments from the chat to find out what the people have to say about this fight. Guys, if the sound is a bit too low, let me know. I'm trying to fix it here. I'm trying to adjust some settings. But yeah, hold on. Yep.
Orale.
All right, we have Recognize the Matrix and Mr. BDA.
Orale, canales.
Welcome to the show. Órale, güey. Pinche pelea.
Orale, güey.
30.
Pinche huevón. You see how I threw a little Puerto Rican in there? Pinche huevón.
I don't know. We don't have a lot of Puerto Ricans here, so I don't know how they speak here. By the way, I have a brother, and they think he's Puerto Rican. They always confuse him for they're like. He tells me that he goes to the store. He's like, "Oh yeah, you know, we New Yorkers, we gotta stick together." And he's like, "What the fuck?" He's not even like wearing anything that indicates that he's from New York, so I think they think he's Puerto Rican. But anyways,
he must be a good-looking guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's Recognize your thoughts on this fight.
I personally think it's a mismatch, but I don't like the narrative from the other side. And this is what I mean. You know, they talk a lot of shit about the Charlos and Canelo doesn't fight these good fighters and all that. But there's some people going with Charlo to beat him, to beat Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
But on that same side, it's like they almost got an excuse ready if Canelo washes him up, which could happen because if you look at Brian Castano, I think Canelo is the prototype of Brian Castano, and he could do that every fight, and he could do it for 12 rounds. I think he slowed down a little bit.
What the fuck is that? Is that BDA? What are you saying? I can't hear you, man.
BDA?
I can barely hear you, man.
Wait, BDA trolling me?
I don't know.
He was trolling me, man.
The fuck? Anyways, continue.
But I think that a lot of people, a lot of a lot of like biased fans, they're kind of educated in the sense that they know what gives a guy like Charlo trouble. Okay, and that's someone fighting him on the inside, punching with him, right? Because he's kind of a long guy. He leaves himself open, and I think they look at Canelo and they say, "Oh boy, that could be a deadly mix," which I think is going to happen. I think that fight's going to be competitive early, but I think as the fight goes along, Canelo starts to rip into him and probably stop him. I would take a bet that he has a good chance of stopping him. I think he'll do it late. Whether the corner stops it, the ref stops it, he has an injury or some shit like that. It could definitely happen. So I think that to make it.
So it's a mismatch.
There are some.
That's what we say. It's a mismatch.
In my opinion, it's hard. Yeah, it is. I think Canelo's much better than him. Yeah.
I mean, if you're saying he's going to stop him, that's a mismatch. I mean, at some point, it's a mismatch. Like, okay, here, let's put it this way. Is there a chance? How big of a chance is there for Charlo to win this fight?
I give him a 10 to 15% chance of winning.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, I give him.
Okay, so it's understandable.
Historically, it's a good fight because you got a undisputed champion from the lower class challenging himself, going up in weight. But if you really look at the size, there's so many nuances to this. You look at the size, you'll probably think I'm talking about Canelo, right? But it's not. It's Charlo, who's got the height advantage, reach advantage.
Mm.
But who's stronger? And I think as the fight goes along, who's a lot stronger? I think it's safe to say it's Canelo.
Yeah. But you did mention those advantages, and some people are actually looking into those advantages and making a case for Jermell Charlo. So
it could be. Listen, the one thing I will say, Canelo has slowed down. He has slowed down. So,
well, some people have claimed forever that Canelo's overrated, and they think that Charlo has, I mean, like you said, the reach advantage, height advantage. Not only that, they say he has the skills necessary to beat a guy like Canelo, who in their minds is overrated.
Well, right. Well, I look at reality. I mean, look, can he pull it out? Can he fight a perfect fight? It's going to take that to beat him, to beat Canelo. That's what it's going to take him to fight a perfect fight. And make and not make mistakes. Meaning his stamina got to be to par. Got to be able to take a good punch for a long, accumulation punches. He's got to stop Canelo from getting in on the countering him mid range or on the inside. He's got to do all that. And yeah, he could possibly win. But what are the chances he's going to do all that?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We'll have to wait and see. By the way, that dog in the chat, he resubscribed to the membership program. Thank you very much. He says, instead of saying a fighter has that dog, can we troll by just flatly saying that a fighter owns a pet dog? What's that mean? Like he owns what? He owns a pet dog. All right. I don't know what you're saying, that dog.
Sexual with that one, bro.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he's saying. But we do have the BDA dogometer on screen, and we will be placing Jermell and Canelo on the dogometer later on. So stay tuned for that, guys. All right. We also have Never Sobers in the in the Discord, and let me just check if we have some phone calls. We have one phone call. Let's take one phone call, and then we'll get back to the panel. All right, guys. Let's take a phone call here. 336, you're on the air. 336.
Yo, what's up? So, I think this is a mismatch, and it's not due to size. Even though Charlo's a bit taller and he has a smaller waist and all that, he's bulking up and he's big. It's just due to talent and skill difference. He's not on Canelo's level. When you got guys like Castaño, who I'd actually say is his best win because he arguably did beat Lara as well. Getting front foot dominant and fucking you up. even though he did make Charlo made the good adjustment in the second fight. You know, you got guys like Castano teeing off on you. What the fuck you think Canelo was going to do to you, man? And also, you know, it takes you 30-plus rounds to separate yourself from one-hit wonder Tony Harrison, and you knock out one-hit wonder Jason Rosario. Like, that's why belts to me, especially from champions that almost never defend it, don't really matter to me. Like, if you look at guys like Luke Campbell, Derevianchenko, they've given some really dominant champions decent work, you know, Derevianchenko with Golovkin, Jacobs, and all that shit. And is someone like Jason Rosario or Tony Harrison that much better than a Derevianchenko? That's why I don't even put the whole stock into undisputed. It's about who you fight, man. And I don't think Charlo is a pound-for-pound fighter, you know, fighting one-hit wonder champions. He's not. And being on a 16-month layoff, being actually the bigger guy almost all the time, it's not impressive to me. Is he a decent fighter? Yeah, he's not no fucking pound-for-pound fighter, though. He's going to get fucked up.
All right, in the chat, Scary, somebody in the chat here named Scary says, I believe that Charlo has more skills. Castaño is the same skills as Canelo.
Yeah, Castaño was dog walking him and beat the shit out of him in the first fight and got robbed. And he walked into a left hook because Charlo's a weight bully. Canelo has better body work than Castaño. He feints better, and he picks his shots better. Now, Castaño might be a bit of a better combination puncher at this point in his career because Canelo looks like he might have slowed down a little bit with letting his hands go. But that's also due in fact that he's always had gas tank problems. Like when he was like lighting up Lara's body when they fought in 54, the only reason that fight was fucking close was because he like gave away the last 2 or 3 fucking rounds being a dumbass. You know, he was destroying Lara, you know, up until about round 10, and then he started making it really fucking close. So yeah, but that's not going to happen with Charlo. Charlo's getting fucked up. He's getting knocked out in the 8th or 9th round. I mean, this is his moment to prove if he's special or not, you know? Because as far as I'm concerned, a lot of these black American fighters are hype jobs, and it's been proven as such. Aside of Crawford, it's been proven as such.
Interesting. All right, we're going to move on to the panel. Call back if you want later on, all right? Take care.
Oh, yeah, well, let's even go to doggo meter. I say Charlo's doggo meter is like a 6, 6.5, and I would say Canelo's is like a 9 or 10. That's all I got to say to that.
All right, we'll see what the people have to say about that. Thank you for calling. Call back again later if you want. Take care.
No.
Yo, Bucho.
Yes.
Yeah. By the way, sorry about that earlier. I wasn't trying to troll recognize. It's for the first time ever in 6 years I actually left Mycon without unbeknownst to myself. But I want to touch on what what's his name? Firefist made a great point. Undisputed now, it's becoming overrated, and it becomes overrated by the mere notion that these 4 belts, and the main reason why I choose to ignore the belts is because the ratings can be manipulated. So what's the point of gathering all the belts and undisputed? I'd rather beat the men who beat the men than to collect 4 fucking straps. For example, let's say you beat 3 bums or 4 bums.
Yeah.
You telling me that's worth more than beating a solid guy? For example, Teofimo Lopez beat Josh Taylor. Are you really telling me that now he has to fight Rolly Romero to be undisputed, and that's going to mean something? That's going to add to his legacy?
I get what you mean, because if you look at Spence, Crawford, he unified 140. But who did he really fight at 140? Did he fight a guy like Josh Taylor? No, he fought Ndongo and Postol.
Right. Well, Josh Taylor wasn't he was the guy that became later on, but you know what I mean.
He beat Progre.
Sure. No, but what I'm saying is, Crawford beating Taylor have done much, but what I'm saying is Taylor did at 140 is much more impressive than Crawford did.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Oh, man, you could flip the table and say he went the distance with Progre, whereas Crawford stopped those guys. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's a debate for another, but still remains. Just because you gathered 4 meaningless straps doesn't mean that it's the best thing ever to do. It's not epitome of minutes.
Right. By the way, we're having some trouble with the connection. I don't know what's going on. Everything should be fine. But anyways, who else do we have here on Discord? We have Never Sobers. Why don't you jump in and tell us your thoughts about this fight?
What's up, y'all? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So this fight, I'm jumping back and forth about what I think is going to happen, because part of me feels like it is a mismatch, and Canelo might take him out early as soon as I think Jermell's gonna feel the power, and it's gonna be different. And when I see him fight, he's someone who gets hit on the chin too often, bro. And the guys who beat Canelo, they really have that really good defense, and they don't get hit by him often because you can't let him tee off on you. And it's just, I just don't see him. The way I see him fighting, for him to have success, he has to fight the way he did against Castaño in the rematch. He has to be moving, boxing, clinching when he gets close. But I mean, Canelo is just, he's fought better movers. He's fought better boxers, guys who are bigger, who move faster, who have better feet, faster hand speed. So I feel like that style is going to prolong the fight for Jermell, but it'll just be a matter of time before Canelo tracks him down and cracks him. Like, you see how big his head is? He's not going to miss, bro.
Are you saying there's no chance Jermell Charlo can win this fight?
No, I mean, there's always a chance because he does hit hard. And if Canelo shows up, you know, looking as old as everyone's saying he's looking, you know, there's a chance. I think you can say a puncher's chance. I don't see that happening, but there's also the chance that they might pencil whip Canelo and they might give it Jermell. If he can go 12 rounds, they might just give it to him on a split decision, some wild shit like that.
All right. We have a super chat from Earl Stevens. Thank you for your super chat. He says, Canelo gave Charlo table manners by his mere presence. Charlo is showing too much respect. Guys, did you watch the press conference and did you notice something different from Jermell or even Canelo?
Yeah, I saw it, and it did seem to me that Jermell Charlo, he seemed a little starstruck. You know, the way he was talking about Canelo, he was talking him up a lot. I've never seen him talk about anybody that way. He says, you know, he was like, he's a legend, and of course I respect him, and we're going to go, and when we get in there, it's going to be two lions brawling. Who else has he called a lion besides him and his brother? You know, I think maybe Earl. You know? So I feel like he's showing a lot of respect for Canelo.
Yep, the lion label has been given to a Mexican. Interesting. Let's take a phone call here. 210. You're on the air. 210.
Hey, what's up, guys? Anthony, Texas.
What's up? What's on your mind?
Hey, I disagree with you guys right now with what you just said about Charlo. He's always been respectful to Mexican fighters, man. He's always broken that that code that, you know, the tribalistic code that we see, where you see guys like Shakur. He tiptoes around criticizing certain fighters because he doesn't want the LDBC types to be attacking him because he's not being pro-black. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's one thing I respect about Charlo. He marches to his own beat the way Tyson does. He doesn't give a fuck what people think about, like, you know, going to call him. You know what I mean? Do y'all know what I'm talking about? I can refresh memory. I can name a few things that he said.
No, they've attacked him. They've gone at him before because he hasn't really gone with the flow. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, let me just list a few. Now, when it came to you know, the Wilder thing, he attacked Wilder before. You know, Wilder came at him. The LBDC boys came after him because he didn't like him. He was one of the first ones to beef with Tank Davis. Remember when he put that video saying he's gonna pick him up by his fat nose with his two fingers, you know? And he's shown backstage. Yeah, he's backstage showing love. He was showing love, like, backstage to what's his name, Pitbull Cruz, saying, "Oh man, I love this dude. This was after he fought Tank. You know what I mean? And there's also been videos where he was criticizing his own brother for not taking the Canelo fight. I've also seen videos where he's like, "Man, I like Canelo. I like what he does. Man, he's over here buying his horses. He's like, I want to do that shit." You know, so he's always giving Canelo props. You know what I mean? I think Canelo respects that he marches to his own beat, like Mike Tyson does. Mike Tyson criticizes Floyd. Mike Tyson shows love for, like, you know, non-black fighters. You know what I mean? It's just crazy code that we got to get away from, and that's what I respect about him. So that wasn't nothing different. I don't read anything into how respectful he was because he's always been like that, and that's what I like about him, man. I think he has a slight chance, man. I don't think he's going to get knocked out because the one thing Canelo can do is move his feet. He's always had trouble with movers. When he faced Laura, he had trouble. When he faced Floyd, he had trouble. You know, even Khan for a little bit, you know, he had trouble because of his foot speed. You know, so I think Charlo knows that, and I think anything that Charlo throws at him, he's always going to have that in his mind, like something hard is coming. And when you fight somebody that you know is a puncher, you're going to clinch up a lot more. Your chin's going to hold up a little better because you're going to have that respect. You're going to like bite down when you know something's coming. You know, he's not going to take as many risks and move his feet. So I hope I'm rooting for the guy, man. I don't think Canelo's been fighting the best opposition, and it's not his fault. You know, these guys, these British guys, he went on that Euro, you know, the White Boy Summer tour, and it's not his fault all these dudes at 168 were soft. I mean, it is what it is. It was just a weak division, and he was able to capitalize on it. And he's not that big of a dude, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm actually I ain't going to lie, man. I'm kind of rooting for Charlo, man. It wouldn't be a bad thing if he won, you know? Like, they'll have a trilogy. They'll fight again or a rematch. So
I don't know. I don't know if it's for boxing. I think we want to see Canelo versus Benavidez, or but if Jermell wins.
I want to say one more thing about it.
Yeah.
One more thing about that. One more thing, because I don't know how many calls you got. I just jumped on, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
I always got a lot to say, man. I'm always like, I should have said this.
That's okay. That's okay.
But
go ahead.
Now with Al Heyman, you know how shrewd he is. I mean, you can ask DeBella how he is. He doesn't forget. He's gonna hook up his favorite, the most loyal PBC fighters that have been with him this whole time. Benavidez is not getting that fight. He's not getting a Canelo fight. I'm telling you right now. The plan was Charlo 1, and then the other brother, Charlo 2, and then they were going to try to get Spence, because Spence was laying the groundwork for it. Those have been his three of his main guys that stuck to him. Benavidez tried to leave PBC for Top Rank. He tried to sign with Top Rank. That got shot down. Benavidez has been in interviews where he's saying, PBC, they stall fights, they over-marinate fights. He's been critical of their business plan. And I'm telling you, man, Al Heyman does not forget. So he's not going to hook up Benavidez over like the Charlo twins or Spence. I think Spence could still get the third fight. If he bounces back and looks good versus a guy named Bud, he might be able to get that. They might say, oh, well, you know what? He is weight trained. He needs to go up a little bit.
All right, we'll see. We'll see about that, man. I'm not sure about that. But thanks for calling. Call back again next time, all right? Take care.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
All right. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask him, the caller, because he brought up Floyd, Lara, and who else?
I don't remember.
That was a mover. But he brought up and Amir Khan. And I wanted to ask him, is he comparing Charlo's footwork to Floyd's and Lara's? Because I don't think it's the same, bro.
Yeah, well, also,
he's gone. Go ahead.
Something here. Yeah, I wanted to ask him, the whole thing about it, where he says, he went on the white boy tour. I mean, is that supposed to be a bad thing that these guys are white? I think this guy, I agree with a lot of what Anthony said, but this time I think he drank the Kool-Aid and he didn't realize it. That's what they want you to think, man. I mean, Callum Smith's knocking motherfuckers out at 175 now. Caleb Plant's a good mover. He gave David Benavidez fits for 7 rounds. And even if Billy Joe Saunders, he looked bad against Casades, whatever his name was, the Argentinian guy, but he boxed David Lemieux's ears off. The only thing he couldn't do better than Golovkin was stop him, which Golovkin did. So
well, listen, Canelo's fighting a strong black, undisputed champion. So there will be. I don't want to hear any excuses. Let's take a phone call. Oh wait, before I take the phone call.
What up? This is the straight G. This is the straight. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Hey, can I just read a super chat before we get to your call, because I forgot about it? The boxing prophet above all boxing prophets. Thank you for your super chat. He says, "What up, fam? Canelo is 33 years old. Charlo is 35. Is that what he's saying?"
I think he's 34. I think
they're the same age. Around the same age. But thank you for your super chat, man. All right, let's get back to the phone call here. 832. Go ahead.
All right. So look, I see the title of the video, right? I think it's ludicrous to ask that. I don't think it's a mismatch at all. I think it's about evenly matched as you can possibly get. You know, like the last caller said, with the BDA said he drank the Kool-Aid, the white boy summer. Look, at the end of the day, it's not Canelo's fault, right? Like, he fought a bunch of, like, I guess you could say European type fighters, but at the same time, it is what. I mean, credit for Callum Smith. Callum Smith was a great one. I think Billy Joe was a great one. However, you do got some UK bums in there like John Ryder. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm just gonna call it what it is. and he didn't even look that good against John Ryder. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me think. I know he said that he hurt his hand or whatever. All right, fair enough. But I think Jermell Charlo. The thing is, I know Never Sober said that what do you call it? Jermell gets hit a lot in the chin. And he's right, Castaña was hitting on Jermell, but at the same time, Caleb Plant, I think Caleb Plant hit on Canelo too. Billy Joe, honestly, I think Jermell is more accurate than a Caleb Plant per se. So I think it's going to be one of Canelo's hardest fights. That's just my opinion. What y'all say?
This whole thing about the European bombs. I mean, look, Canelo beat Caleb Plant, right? What did Caleb Plant do to one of the few Afro-Anglos in 168? He knocked Durrell's ass out. So I don't understand this whole thing about European bombs. There's plenty of American bombs out there. It's just the media.
Look, BDA. Yeah, BDA. What do you call it? Caleb Plant is not a UK bomb, or his American, but he was a champion. Anyone who was a champion is not a bomb. Anyone who was a champion is not a bomb.
What I'm saying is that this whole thing of
John Ryder.
BDA, go ahead.
Straight G. What I'm saying is that this whole thing of this guy's European, therefore he's a bum. It's like, so you could say the same thing about Americans, because a lot of Americans, sorry to say, are overhyped too.
Yeah, you're right. Jesse Hart couldn't get a belt at 168, bro.
When I say, listen, let me explain myself real quick. When I say UK bum, I'm not talking about Billy Joe Saunders. I'm not talking about Callum Smith. I'm talking about the dudes with like 6-7 losses. I'm talking about John Ryder. I'm talking about, pretty much John Ryder. Let's be real. Yildirim is nothing. You could say he was a bum. He always lost. Let's be real.
But Ryder doesn't have 6-7 losses. So what makes it? So does that make him a bum, or like are you talking just the losses, or
eye test,
or is his style?
His skin. Let's get the fact. Let's get to the bum. Are you saying
he's on a fight that he loses?
That's what you're saying. Just say that. Just say hey, he's what these guys are white from Europe, and therefore they're bums.
Not because look. I already explained that some white fighters are excellent. Josh Taylor, Caleb Plant. There's plenty of them. I have some of them on my pound for pound list probably. So it's not that. I'm not making it a race thing. I'm not the LDBC. I'm not. But at the same time, I do gotta.
But he's from the UK.
What I see.
But he's from the UK.
Well, he just happened to be from the UK, so that's why I said what I when I said about John Ryder. Yeah, and Yildirim. I think. I know he's a bum, but I don't know his country, so I don't know.
Turkey.
Yildirim's not white, man. Yildirim's
Turkey.
White. Come on.
Yeah.
He ain't white.
All right, but look, topic back. I know we got into that, but back on topic. I don't think it's a mismatch at all. I actually think, but I don't think Canelo is knocking him out at all. I just don't see that happening. Jermell is not flat-footed. He's not gonna stay there to get hit like Kovalev. He's not gonna stay there, or he's not really gonna do exaggerated ducks and run into something like Billy Joe, because that's not his style. He's not really like that elusive. Whether you could say no, he's really not a traditional. I guess you could say black fighter where he's so like slick, as they say. But his actually, you could actually say he has flaws, but I never really seen him get dropped or anything. So I can't even say he's that chinny, because truth be told, he's for the most part he always finds a way to win. And even the first Harrison fight, it was a close fight. So that's what I'm saying.
All right.
He's got the abilities. What I'm saying.
Well, we get your point. Thanks for calling. Call next time. All right. Take care.
All right. Thank you. You too.
All right.
Hey, Bucho,
Yes.
The reason why I'm a little hot under the collars, because again, these two straight back-to-back callers start talking about the European bums, and I'm thinking, man, people just in the media say things, and it's not their fault, but these people that are repeating it, you got to be aware that you're repeating these. It's sort of like I won't call it neuro-linguistic programming, but it's some sort of programming where they get people to say things without thinking about it.
I know.
And it's with Navarrete, for example. Navarrete, I checked Ring TV yesterday to see what the big Monday article that they had about the fight. The title goes something along the lines of Navarrete and Valdez continue the tradition of great Mexican fights. I go, great Mexican fights. It was a beat. They're still going with this narrative. There's something more going on here, Bucho, and I'm going to get to the point.
Yeah, now people think that Navarrete had a war with Valdez and it was a close fight and it could have gone either way. Let's do it again. It's no, it was a beatdown. But anyways,
I don't know.
these
I
words.
don't know why.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know why they were suggesting the idea of a rematch. You know, it was clear who the winner was. You know, they did. I think it was a good fight. They had a couple good exchanges.
Yeah,
but it was clear who the winner was at the end of the fight. You know,
it was exciting watching it, but it's not worth rewatching it because it was one-sided. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know.
Let's get Jimmy in here, and then we'll get back to the phone lines. Jimmy, just give us your initial thoughts on this fight. What do you like? Is it competitive? Is it one-sided?
Unless Canelo has grown old, because they're very similar in age. In fact, I think they're only a few days apart, if I'm not mistaken. But Canelo's much more sharp-worn just through the sheer number of battles. But if he's even 85%, 80% maybe of the original Canelo, I see him stopping him, because I seen a man who got touched up. Charlo, like both Charlos, actually, if you look back throughout the history of their career, they lost a lot of rounds. He's been touched up a few times. It just, they didn't really punch many. He didn't face many punches, and when he did, I think he fought like the banana Rosario, who was found out that kid just had no talent. All he was power, and it was pretty easy to avoid. But other than that, he's really kind of avoided the power punches. I mean, it's kind of along the lines why I think he wasn't quick to make that Zoo fight. I think they knew that kid cracked. Like Castano, I mean, he was one of those pressure fighters, and I think that's what gave Charlo the fits in the first fight. Is the other guy was setting a pace, but Castano was in a one-shot puncher, where Canelo wouldn't be described as a one-shot puncher, but when you're at 168, those punches are a lot harder than Charlo's used to facing at 154, and his body can put on the weight, but his jaw has not been hit by those kind of punches. Then there's the magnitude of the moment. Charlo's never seen it. I mean, he's been unified, but they were smaller fights. In fact, I don't even think it was a pay-per-view. There's a lot of things. And then the thing is, if it does happen that way, say Charlo does stop him, it'll be kind of what it really is. It's just a fucking money fight. It's a money grab. Because if it was about legacy, like they're trying to sell it, like Charlo's trying to sell it, it's a legacy fight. No, you would fucking take on Costa Zoo, and you would continue to march your fucking ass right up in the normal way. But he's going in for the money. I'm not saying I blame him, but don't sell it what it is. And to Mr. BDA's point, he's asking why Ring Magazine's still pushing that. Here's my theory on that. They've got rid of the print end of Ring Magazine. Now they're like everybody else, clickbait. So they have to grab the headlines, right? And you never apologize in the beginning, never admit you were wrong in the beginning. You might do that later on. You kind of be like when people aren't interested, the quick turnaround news cycle. So yes, to call that a great Mexican fight. No, we saw a great Mexican fighter beat up another person of Mexican descent, but it was not a great fucking, to try to even compare it with any of the great Mexican battles of the past is just, it's laughable. It was, now already looked like he could go do a fucking, commercial for shaving creams. His face was so unmarked. So, yeah, it is what it is, my brother.
All right, so it's a mismatch. Jimmy, mismatch.
Real quick.
Yeah.
With the Navarrete thing, I know that's not the subject, but here's the headline says, Emmanuel Navarrete, Oscar Valdez penned the latest great chapter in Mexican boxing history. And then here's the article, part of it, rather. Heading into Saturday's bout, blah, 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 there was a belief that the matchup could deliver a potential fight of the year, and it didn't disappoint. However, after 36 minutes of give and take in a high-contact war of attrition, it was Navarrete who... High-contact, a war of attrition? Get the fuck out. I'm done, man. I'm done with fucking...
Who's the guy who wrote that, if you don't mind me asking? Who penned that article?
Hey. No, I'm kidding. It was Anson Wainwright.
Really? Yeah, he's new. I believe isn't he new to the staff? I think he is. But yeah, no, that's what? That was like he used buzzwords, right? Doesn't it sound like he's used all the buzzwords? A war of attrition. I think attrition means like last man standing type of shit. The fucking worst thing Valdez did to Navarrete was hurt his hand, but his head.
It wasn't. All right,
With the
guys.
Mexican rock'em sock'em robots, right?
Yeah, that's what they want to make you believe. But we'll get back to that. Let's get back to our phone line. See what people have to say about this fight that Jermell Charlo versus Canelo. Is it a mismatch? 301, you're on the air. Yo. 301. All right. I don't know what the fuck's happening with him.
Stuff a body in their trunk, bro.
he's like trapped somewhere. 909. 909. You're on the air.
Hey, this is Earl Stevens. Salute to the panel. I want to give my impressions on the press conference. I don't like Jermell Charlo's demeanor. He's giving Canelo way too much credit, way too much respect. I want to see a clever lane, and Jermell Charlo's not doing it. I want to hear Jermell Charlo saying he wants to take his head off, and he's showing Canelo way too much respect. I feel like a lot of these guys, they've done so little, and Canelo's done so much where they can't help but give him so much respect. And they need to stop doing that shit. These guys need to start acting like fucking fighters. I want to hear Jermell say he wants to take Canelo's head off, bro. And if you better switch it up in tomorrow's press conference. But today's press conference, I didn't like it, bro. I didn't like it, man. I want to see you guys try to take each other's heads off, bro.
Guys in the panel, what did you think about this?
That's all I want to say.
All right. Well, thanks for calling. Good point. Anything else?
You know what happened? So Earl is on the. He saw what a lot of people saw, man. Charlo was more respectful than ever, and that could be a good thing. It means he's taking him seriously. But also, you gotta admit that's the thing that gets Canelo is a larger than life character. If I may use a couple of cliches, just like those writers do, and I think that's what. Why do you think he's got so many kids? He's got that allure around women too. It's a charisma. It's a vibrancy, and it's appealing to Charlo. Apparently, maybe that's why Charlo wore that fucking carpet on the stage. It's something to protect himself against the kravodka, as they call it in Eastern Europe.
You know what? Charlo talks a lot of shit on the internet, on Instagram and shit like that, on videos. And when you're face to face, I don't want to see that shit, bro. I want to see you. You know, I want to see you fucking act aggressive, bro. Like this is the biggest fight of your career.
Earl, are you saying that? Are you saying that Charlo? Are you saying that Charlo was intimidated?
A little bit.
Interesting. All right, Earl. Anything else?
That's it, man. I just want to see Charlo put up a good fight, and I want to see him get his head straight. I want to see him come after Canelo like he wants to take his head off, bro. What's up with these fighters showing too much respect? That's my point. They're doing so little, and Canelo's doing so much where they can't help but give him respect, bro.
Interesting point.
And,
all right,
and they know that like instinctively, and they need to quit with that shit. I just want to see a good fight.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you, man. All right, thanks for calling. Take care, man. Interesting point, guys. What do you think about that? Too much respect, intimidated, or do you want to see some trash? Some people don't like the trash talk, so this was fine for these people. You know, it was respectful.
Well, I think it was a little boring, but I think Jermell Charlo, I think his roid rage, he can barely contain himself half the time. If you look at him, he always looks tense, like he always like making him balling his fist up. His lips always curling up when he talks. I think the closer we get to the fight, the more it'll come out. Because he even came out a little bit during this press conference when they asked him about his haters. You know, he's like, I don't give a fuck about them. I don't care about none of that. It'll come out more.
Yeah, it's gonna come out,
fight, bro.
It's gonna. This might be just the beginning. So let's wait and see.
And then when his brother's there too, it's gonna be more when his brother's there too.
Right.
His brother wasn't at this one. He'll be at one of the other ones.
Good point.
Yeah, he was too worried about getting slapped by Plant again. Plant was out in the parking lot hunting him.
All right, guys. Let's take another. Yeah, Jimmy, go ahead. Jimmy, go ahead.
I was going to I'll make it real quick. I was going to say, is he trying not to piss him off? You know, trying to get Canelo amped up, maybe trying to keep him even keeled. It doesn't bother me either way. I really don't bother getting into that anymore because I know half the time it doesn't mean shit. And it bothers me if it's not organic, if it's forced. You know what I mean? Like, why are
Jimmy,
you forcing to try to make bad blood? It's a sporting event.
Do you think
it's not a fight?
Do you think that the feud that took place between between Canelo and Plant was real?
I think Plant try to make it something, trying to get. I think when people do that, when they force it, it's because they're trying to give themselves bravado. They're trying to convince themselves deep down inside. There was a part of Plant knew he wasn't going to beat Canelo. He knew it in his heart, and so you mask that. You put up that, oh, fuck you, man, I'll slap you. You know what I mean? Put up that bullshit when that's all it was, man. It's false, bro. That's why most of the time Canelo just get out of here, get the fuck out of here, and he laughs at you. Because he's like, he knows, man, you know, you got that much of a problem? Tell you what, why don't you punch me in the face on that date? You know what I mean? Like, again, you know, I just don't like when it's forced, is all, Bucho.
All right, let's take another phone call here. 713, you're on the air.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. Go ahead. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I don't think... I think if Canelo wins, that's just, you know, the PBC matchmaking, you know, the rhetoric. But I'll be surprised if Charlo wins. I won't be surprised if Canelo wins. I think Canelo's going to get him. Maybe TKO in the late round. I've seen Charlo's fight with Castano. He has an underrated left foot. Everybody has a jab. You know, Canelo has a pretty good jab. And he does go mediocre with maneuvers. Just above well. But that's my take on it. Hope it's a pretty good fight. It's September 30th. Bye.
All right. Thanks for the phone call, man. Take care. Can barely hear the guy. I don't know where he is. He
sounded like he was
Canelo,
at the garage or something.
Yeah, garage or something. He said Canelo late round stoppage. And that's what a lot of people are saying. It seems like Canelo will. I mean, it seems like the fight will be somewhat competitive, but later on, Canelo's gonna stop him. That's what the majority of people are saying, in my opinion. Let's get back to the panel. Mr. BDA, are you there? First of all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you think that Charlo is showing too much respect, or because I'm still curious about this thing? Like, do you want to see a trash type of press conference, ghetto? I call it.
I'm with Jimmy, man. I'm with Jimmy. I've said it, and I've said it before too, man. We've talked about it before when there's a lot of trash talking on that. This subject comes up. If it's organic and it makes for entertainment, I don't have to like it, but it is good for boxing. But if these guys really respect each other and they don't seem to have anything against each other, then it's going to be manufactured, and I'm going to hate it even more. Now, the question really should be what Earl Stevens was talking about, whether Charlo's showing too much respect right before the fight. Is he a little intimidated? I think fighters know what the deal is. And I think he knows Canelo is superior to him. And I'm not going to get into the breakdown of the fight right now. All I'll say is this. He lost to Castaño the first time. And if you just rewatch the fight and see how Castaño shut the hometown crowd up, that says it all right there. He also lost to Tony Harrison, the first fight. The first fight, people say was a robbery. Rewatch it. Tony Harrison was outboxing him, outjabbing him. The second fight, Charlo was on his way to losing as well, even though he scored that knockdown early. He was getting outboxed this time on the inside. So Canelo has never been outboxed by an inferior fighter. Like, you've never seen him. I mean, I would say he's overrated if he was getting outboxed by Billy Joe Saunders, by Callum Smith, but he doesn't. He takes those guys out. Charlo, on the other hand, like I said, he's getting outboxed by Tony Harrison. He's been getting fits by Jason Rosario, who, like Jimmy alluded to, a one-punch, one hit wonder, and so I think Canelo is the smarter fighter in here. Maybe not by a lot. I'm not saying he's going to school Charlo. I do expect it to be competitive, but I think maybe Charlo knows, holy shit, this is the best guy I've ever faced, and maybe that's why he's being respectful.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Let's take another phone call here. 210 on the air. 210.
Hey, sorry, it's me again, Anthony. I just want to clear up something, man. I was making a joke with the white boy summer thing. I didn't want to come off as a racist, but I got that from the boxing rant. Y'all hear that show before?
No, but you're making excuses.
Just say you're racist,
bro. Like
I'm kidding. All right. Well, yeah, we got it. No, I don't know that show, but
Just say you wanna drag white people out of their
funny,
truck
man.
and bash their heads in with a brick, like Russian Denny. Come on, man.
Isn't that White Boy Summer? Isn't that from that True Romance movie?
It's funny, man.
It's a song. Isn't that from? It's from Tom Hanks' son, I think.
They don't make the podcast as much as they used to, man. You know, they're real. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm surprised you guys don't know them. They're cool. They're real close with Montero.
Kenny Keith and Vince. Yeah, Kenny Keith and Vince Cumming.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Boxing
so they would make jokes about it, like, yo, he was on the White Boy Summer, but I mean, it's not Canelo's fault. The division was, you know, the way it was. You know what I mean? But it wasn't Murderer's Row neither. You know, I think the weight's gonna help Charlo in the end, you know. And what I like about, I always said this, I said this the last couple of shows, was one thing that Canelo has in common with Mayweather, with Pacquiao, with Lomachenko, is they're always, quote-unquote, the smaller fighters. So they're not killing themselves to make weight, man. They're getting more out of their abilities. I think a lot of problems these fighters are having, even with Bud, a lot of these problems with these fighters are taking too much out of their bodies, making weight, and it takes away from their performance. So I'm hoping it's a closer fight because of that, man. I'm just, you know, and like I said, I like Charlo because he doesn't march to the code, you know what I mean? But I just want to clear my name up because I thought y'all would get that because I know y'all are like in the same circles as these guys in boxing. I was like, oh man, he's trying to come off those races, you know?
Let's just straighten this out. You said you disparaged the quality of fighters by calling them white, and now you're blaming the good people of the boxing rant for that. Okay. Just wanted to get that on the record. So
yeah,
people from the boxing rant, if you're going to go after somebody, go after Anthony.
I was just making a funny quote that they used, but I mean, it wasn't Murderer's Row. I would just say that, you know, guys were okay. All
right, we get it. Right. All right, thanks for clearing your name, and we'll see you next time. All right, take care.
All right, guys.
All right, let's take another phone call. 226.
May I just say that he hasn't cleared his name. There's still a couple of things to straighten out, and
was lying.
It's a little crooked right now. The line is not straightened out. It's a little crooked. Let's just put it there.
All right, we're having another phone call here. 226. 226. You're on the air.
Yeah. Thanks a lot to BDA. As soon as a phone call answers, he's got to interrupt. You know. To try and get me off the panel. That's real nice of you there, BDA. Real fucking nice of you. Anyways, I'll give you my prediction, and I hope you cut off the open lines. I hope you cut them off because I've always been correct. So you don't need to hear anybody else's prediction. I got it a competitive fight, and then Jermell knocks him out in the 11th round.
Shut the fuck up, man.
Hold on a sec. I'm talking right now. Come on. I told you the other day Bud was going to knock out Spence, and he did. I told you Joshua was going to knock out Elenius, and he did. Right? Every time I predicted, I was correct. Every time.
You went out on a fucking deep one,
What are you talking about? Go ahead, Slugger.
What's that?
Go ahead, finish your
point. I'm trying to listen to you guys, but you're all fucking ganging up on me. What are you saying?
Finish your point.
What are you saying right now?
Finish your point.
Oh, yeah, the point is, Charlo knocks him out. 11th round. And by the way, can I say one thing? The only reason Charlo was nice was because they told him if he wasn't nice at the press conference that they'd fucking kick him out. Kind of like how Canelo told, what's his name, Boo Boo, you know, get the fuck out of here, man. That's what they were going to do to Charlo. They were going to kick him out.
All right, Slugger, I don't know what to tell you, man. All right, so you have Charlo in the 11th?
Yeah, he's going to knock him out. 11th round knockout. If you want, listen, if you think I'm trolling you,
hey, listen, if you get it right, I mean,
I'll put up a bet.
I don't know what to say.
I'll put up a bet. $300 Canadian, me and you.
That what? That he knocks him out in the 11th?
Yep. If I'm wrong, I pay $300. If I'm right, you pay me $300.
I don't think you're gonna be paying, man.
Okay,
I
we
really
could,
don't think you're gonna
if
be.
you want,
I don't trust you
hold
at all.
on, I
You're fucking insane.
I could PayPal it. Come
I know
on,
you
bro.
could
I've always
PayPal it.
paid up, man. I could PayPal it right now to one of your buddies. They could hold it
I'll
up.
go to Windsor. I'll go to Windsor and watch a fight with you. How's that?
Slug, why are you so desperate?
Yeah. Now you're thinking about it. Fuck that shit, man. I'll get my fucking money no matter what. Don't trust me, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We can
Yeah. Anyway,
give
Slugger,
it to Jimmy or somebody right now to hold it up.
Yeah, I see. I sense. All right. Anyways, Slugger, we gotta move on. We got other phone calls, man. Thanks for calling. Take care.
All right, fellas. All right, cheers.
My ass.
I never understand these Hail Mary predictions.
Yeah, exactly. And
nothing
then because you want to bet, it makes it like, yeah.
Yeah.
979.
Like Triple G didn't even put him off his feet, but Charlo's going to knock him out at 168.
979. You're on the air. 979.
Hello, what's up, everyone?
Yo, what's up? What's on your mind?
This is Bruce from Houston, calling in a few times.
All right, what's on? You go ahead.
Yeah, so the only thing I think that's like a huge mismatch in this fight is the power disparity. Because like if Castaño was hurting Charlo, imagine Castaño that's like 20 pounds heavier. He would have gone down like in the first fight, Castaño Charlo, like that left hook he hit him with, man, he would have gone down for sure. And that was Canelo easy. So I think it would be like a competitive fight, but I think Canelo's gonna find like a left hook to the liver or something in like the 7th or 8th round, and Charlo just gonna not be able to handle that power anymore, and just I think we'll take him out in like this 8th round. Canelo.
All right. That makes sense. I mean, based on what everybody has been saying. So it's a mismatch, in your opinion. There's no chance Jermell wins this fight.
I think. Well, I don't think there's. I think he has a chance. He can just stick and move all fight and make it boring. But you never know, because I'm a fan of Canelo, but dude, the judges have always been terrible in Canelo fights. Always. Whether they're just like the third Triple G match, like they almost robbed Canelo, and then the Bivol fight 3 months before, they almost robbed Bivol. Like, it's just, I don't know. You never know what the hell those cards are going to look like. So, Charlo might just have to go for it, man. He might just have to go for the KO, and he's going to get knocked out himself. And I think that's what's going to happen.
All right. Well, anything else?
That's pretty well. Venado and Joe Gonzalez are gonna fight like 2 weeks before that fight. I think it's like a good stay busy fight for Venado. I think he'll be the best guy or the best looking guy against Gonzalez. He could probably knock him out most likely. And I just want to see him and Ramirez unify later this year. And the winner of that will probably get that Inoue golden ticket once he moves up to featherweight. So, yeah, I just hope that happens.
All right. Well, thanks for calling. Call back in next time. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Ucho, you
Yes.
gotta understand too right now, right? Think about this. The PBC easily have had some of the most sketchy freaking judge decisions recently, always landing on the A side, right? The house fighter. Is there, even though he's not an official Al Heyman, fighter, like Al's not his advisor by no means. He's not didn't sign an NDA, but that doesn't stop from one thing from happening. He's the fucking golden child right now over there. They have 3 fights. That's like Steven Espinosa's been walking around with a heart on ever since they signed that 3-fight deal. So those are guaranteed big money pay-per-views. If that goes the distance and they would have fucking give it to Charlo, that completely blows the wheels on the fucking hype train, right? There it goes. The next 2 fights, nobody's going to buy them. So I would imagine Charlo would have to pretty much put it on him You know what I mean? To get a decision.
Yeah,
That's
the
just
plan
me.
is maybe lose the last one. You know what I mean? But no, not the first fight. Canelo cannot lose the first fight.
Oh,
the second,
definitely
maybe
the last one. They'll get all the belts.
Right. Jimmy, did you watch the press conference?
I watched some of it. Yes.
Okay. What did you think?
I'm just not. I don't usually watch, but yes.
Yeah,
What's
they're
that?
not that interesting. But I don't know if you noticed. At some point, they asked Canelo, "Why did you choose the PBC?"
Oh yeah, Brian Costa. Oh,
Yeah.
I saw that.
Oh,
you see how they work that in there? Now, why did you have chose the PBC with all the promoters out there?
Yeah.
Why Al Heyman? Tell us
great.
why he's so great. It's just,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Costa, get your lips off of Al's balls, dude. You're a grown man.
That was a terrible question. I mean, they were setting him up for him to say, like you said, that it's. I just found it cringe. All right, Let's take another phone call here. 706. You're on the air.
Hi, this is High Pitch.
What?
It's high pitch.
Hey,
High pitch.
Buche.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I just have something really quick to say. So on the YouTube shorts that BDA does.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
All right, can you run a poll, because I'm pretty sure most of us want to hear BDA's voice instead of that AI generated one.
So you want to hear Mr. BDA's voice instead of the computer generated voice?
What computer generated?
I made those shorts, by the way. Yeah, some shorts I added some
No, they're
AI.
great.
Yeah.
Mitchell, the shorts are great. They're great. It's just like we like the show, honestly, for BDA's voice.
Right.
Soothing, isn't it?
All right.
Well, first of all, I sense a little bit of a sarcasm there from Soothsayer. As long as he's not dropping N-bombs, I'm okay.
No.
But second of all, I don't understand what he's saying. He's saying that AI voice. That ain't no AI voice, first of all right? So pay a little respect to Bobby Tex, the guy who's doing the voiceovers. And number two, people don't listen to the show because of my voice. They listen to everybody's voices. The voices of the people, that's what I like to call them. So, don't blame me for this.
Can you do a poll? Can you guys run a poll real quick? I swear, it's going to be...
Nobody's going to vote. Soothsayer, nobody gives a shit.
We'll make a poll right up your ass. How's that sound? Right up. Really?
Nobody gives a shit, but I give a shit because I'm a fan.
All right, Soothsayer is like a
So you're insulting your
BDA loyal fan. I get it. Listen, duly noted. Duly noted. We'll discuss that with the chairman of the BDA boxing. Who controls those BDA? Who's above us? Goldstein. We'll talk to Goldstein. Same stuff, same shit. And we'll see what he says. All right.
All
right. Thanks for the call, man. Soothsayer.
Hey, by the way, Soothsayer, hold on, Soothsayer. You drop by the. You say you're such a fan. Drop by Second Renaissance. The last times we did it, you never showed up. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lastly, will you guys please sign my shirt if I do buy one?
Sure, man.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Thank you.
We'll
for
do
the
it with
late
blood.
show.
I'll do it with blood. Thanks. Take care. All right. That was Soothsayer with the best calls. All right. We'll take another phone call. 510. You're on the air. 510.
Hey, what's up, Jimmy? What's up, BDA? What's up, Bucho? And what's up, Never Source? I'm not sure if he's there.
Yep.
It's Mr. Booty Juice. I just wanted to call in.
Oh, Mr. Booty Juice.
I was going to comment.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, man? Yeah. I was going to call in just to basically give my comments, opinions about this upcoming fight. I think me, honestly, well, the conference, it was pretty tame. I think it doesn't really matter, even if they try to talk it up in some way, like, them shit-talking each other. I think regardless, the fan, Canelo can fart, and people will literally watch this guy, so it doesn't matter what the fuck he does. He just has the whole country behind him. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, to me, I don't think much of him at all. I've always said this, so think this fight is pretty easy for him. He either gets a late stoppage or the decision. Obviously, it doesn't matter how he decides to fight this fight, whether it's the same what we've seen, the last couple of fights, or if he tries to change it up somehow. Maybe he tries to pick up some speed at certain angles. Because to be honest, like when the fight deal was announced, honestly, like I didn't give a fuck. If I was Canelo, I probably would have dragged the PBC down more. I would have asked for a lot more money. I would have said, like, let me fight 5 of your fighters for $200 million or something. I don't know. I would have just fucked them, But Canelo's not a smart dude. His camp's not smart either. So it is what it is. But yeah, man. Honestly, I'm not really excited for this fight. I think the next upcoming fights, whoever it might be, whoever the deal entails, he's just gonna run through him. If he fights Benavidez, I think he'll spark him sometime, maybe 6th, 7th round. But after that, even if he fights Crawford, I think he beats all of them pretty easily. He just has his thoughts. So many people respect him. I think what made Bivol different, aside from the obviously the other factors that that've been touched upon in earlier shows and in other shows, actually, I think his mentality, like he said it himself. A lot of people think of this dude as a god, or like he's unbeatable, and he just thought of him as a human being. So I mean, that's how I would approach it too. I would obviously tag him to the body and crack that motherfucker and just whatever, but for whatever reason, people are just, honestly, that's what I don't get about the whole Canelo effect. I don't know if it's just because he has a lot of money tied to him or what, but too many people fear this dude, and I wouldn't give him no fucking respect at all. I would just take that, everything from him. That would be my mentality. So if nobody has that mentality, it doesn't matter if these PBC guys somehow rank up in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter if they get the best training camp in the world. It doesn't matter if these guys are just fucking, I think their overall talent would speak for itself. They're not good fighters. Like, doesn't matter if it's Demetrius Andrade, Benavidez, Caleb Plant, fucking even Devin Hay. All these guys just have fucking no entertainment value, man. And aside from that, there's a clear skill gap. So,
who should Canelo? Who should Canelo fight in your opinion?
At this point, it doesn't really matter, honestly. The only in this 3-fight deal, when it was announced, I thought the same thing that Jimmy said, and good thing he said it here on the show, that this is kind of the end of the road for Canelo. So that's a saving grace for me. Finally, this guy just leaves boxing, because to me, he's always been a B-class fighter. The only reason why he's so big is because he's propped up by the Mexican fan base. That's just what it is. If this guy was in any other organization, he wouldn't be as big as he is. Now, if he was born, let's say this guy was born in Kazakhstan or Ethiopia or fucking Canada, whatever, this guy wouldn't be as big as he is. It's only because he's Mexican, he comes from that area. That's it. That's all it is. But I would want to see him fight Crawford, honestly. That'd be an interesting fight. But even then, I'm just like, I can't really. He already fought Bivol, and he got murdered by him. And then he already fought Triple G. So that's honestly who I would want to see him fight. And I'll give him credit. At least he's making the fights. He's fighting the fights. But I mean, even that point, I don't think a lot can be said about a dude that's just doing his job. It's like, all right, so we're gonna give this guy extra credit for just going out there and looking for the fights. Like, I don't give him extra credit for that just because he's fighting. But at least he's showing up. At least he's not like bullshitting. So there's that, I guess. But
all right, I get. All right, Mr. Buttigieg, we gotta move on. We got other phone calls.
I'll be check.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this. I'll just be checking out from these fights regardless. So I don't care. I probably won't call. So I'll see you guys whenever there's actually good fights coming about, and hopefully I can give about my opinion about those fights. But yeah, other than that, I just want to say this too. Fuck Canelo. Fuck all the Canelo dick riders. I would want to see him get knocked dead, but I mean, these guys are not going to deliver. So to me, this is just a waste of time. But hey, you guys
Mr. Buttigieg, can I ask you a question? Mr. Buttigieg, what do you hate about Canelo? Because you said like he'll beat anybody. So what can he do to make you happy?
Sorry, so you kind of blurred out. Say that again.
What can Canelo do to make you happy?
Nothing, dude. Honestly, look, man. I know I'm of the opinion, right? This guy to me doesn't represent Mexican boxing, the Mexican boxing style. Out of all the, let me just put it in a nutshell, right? Because I don't have limited time. to me, this guy is the weakest talent that ever came out of Mexico ever. Name the names right now. Juan Manuel Marquez is better. Eric Morales is better. All these fucking guys are better. And obviously, I'm not going to name the greatest of all time, Julio Cesar Chavez. But to me, that embodies Mexican style, right? It's not a big difference to me. Just because he's kind of bullying these dudes, hooking them and hitting them. And, I mean, he does have a good, excellent sense of timing, so that helps him out, right? But just because he does that, he just doesn't embody the Mexican style to me. It's just not. It's not appealing to me. When I see that, even when he fought John Ryder, I'm like, all right, I even understood, right? He's not going to knock this guy out. But when I started seeing him pressure him, and bullying him and cracking him, I'm like, damn, he's going to hit hard. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, who cares? But I mean, the guy's just not entertaining, dude. He's just not.
So
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say
you don't like his style.
He does not embody the Mexican style.
Okay, so the style. You don't like the style. You don't like the style. You don't like Canelo's style.
I don't like the style. I feel like I think the other dude, I kind of caught a bit of the live show a while back. I'm not sure if it was Chief or something, but I agree with his sentiment 100%. I feel like this dude was also picking his fights throughout his career. So if we're gonna give shit to Floyd, I mean, we got to give shit to this guy too. Like him waiting out Triple G was always been a bitch move on my part, or I always thought it was a bitch move on his part. So things like that, like I said, to me, he's not entertaining. I'd rather watch Triple G. I'd rather watch Vivo. I'd rather watch
he's not entertaining. He's not entertaining. The style is related to that, and then he acted like Floyd in the sense that who did he avoid?
He picked all of his fights at the right time.
Like, okay, the Golovkin fight, we all know.
He for sure avoided Triple G.
He could have taken that first Triple G fight a year earlier, or 2 years earlier. We agree on that. But after that, two Golovkin fights, let's say, who did he avoid and which fighter did he take at the right time?
I think a lot of them. I think
which one? Who?
I think he picked Lara. Even when he fought Cotto, that was pretty. I mean, Cotto.
Cotto was
recently. Even those guys that he fought.
Cotto was a champion.
You can't tell me this guy was exciting when he fought Caleb Plant.
Well, Cotto was a champion. Cotto was a champion. Cotto was a champion. The Lara fight. Everybody wanted to see the Lara fight. He took that fight, which is boring.
Oh.
And then Cotto. Cotto was a champion. I believe he beat Sergio Martinez. And he became the middleweight champion.
Yeah,
so I mean, that fight had to happen. Yeah, I know Cotto wasn't the same. He was old. I mean, I don't understand your opinion here. Like, he's not Mayweather. Like, certainly not.
I mean, he kind of is, but.
I mean, I just told you, Cotto was a champion.
Man, like I said, people are going to defend this guy for whatever. So I mean, it is.
Well, no,
I'm
just. I mean, if you disagree with what I'm saying, then tell me why. I mean, Cotto was a champion.
Yeah, but did he look sensational? Was he a fucking killer? Was this guy?
No, like that I can give you that. Even Eric Morales complained. I understand that. I agree. Even Eric Morales said that Canelo could have done more in that Cotto fight. He said, I think he could have stopped Cotto if he would have pushed the fight more. I agree with that, but you can't say that he was docking Cotto. He fought Cotto, or docking anybody. As a matter of fact, he even went on to fight people.
Anybody. What I'm trying to say is like how I think Chief put it too. Like, he's been picking his fights at the right time. Either these dudes are going through something, or there's some sort of weakness in their fucking game. Or because like I said, Cotto, the Cotto fight to me wasn't really that impressive. Like, I was like, all right, okay, he's gonna beat him. Just because he's gonna pressure him.
Booty Juice, we're getting a bunch of phone calls. I think you started a whole thing here. Now people I think they want to speak their minds based on what you said. That's my opinion. Call back later on if you can. All right.
Yeah, I probably can't. I'm gonna be swamped, but I mean, it's just what it. I'm not, like I mentioned before, I'm not really looking forward to it. I just want to see him out and leave, and that's it, man. Like, I don't really care for his performances at all.
All right.
Get him in the boxing.
I was gonna say something else, but I forgot, man. But yeah, I'll let you guys go.
All right. Thanks for calling. We gotta move on. Call back next time.
All right. Thank you. All right. You guys be cool. Yeah. Take it easy. All right.
See ya. All right. We got more phone calls.
Say something real quick.
Yes.
can I just jump to real quick? He kind of lost me when he said, so the basis of his argument, the most part is that he doesn't like Canelo because it's boring. But then he said he likes watching Bivol.
I'm confused. I mean, I can understand that if you don't like someone's style, I mean, that's very subjective. I mean, I don't like this style, like this. But I don't think Canelo like pulled off a Mayweather or something like that. He didn't fight Golovkin at the time that everybody wanted to see that fight. We agree on that. But after that, he fought everyone. Did he wait for Plant to get old or something, and he fought Plant? Now you can argue that the fighters that Canelo beat weren't Hall of Famers. I would agree with that, but that he like waited for somebody to get old and waited to fight somebody at the right time. I don't get that. But whatever. Scale Bender, thank you for your super chat. He says, don't take this wrong, but I'm with Mr. Booty Juice. All right. Pete, I sent you a link if you want to jump on. I think he's just trolling. But anyway, guys, this is the spirit of the show. Anybody can jump in and speak their minds. This is what BDA Boxing, the boxing debate arena, is all about. Let's take another phone call. 336, you're on the air.
Yo, what's up? I'm going to make this quick from what Mr. Booty Juice said or whatever about Canelo. So he was right in the sense with what happened with Golovkin and stuff like that. He waited him out about 18 months. He fought Cotto, and he performed well, but Cotto beat a shot to piece of Sergio Martinez. And a lot of people like to say Canelo's resume is overrated. In a sense, it is a little bit, but that's not necessarily his fault. It's not his fault he fought Shane Mosley when he was shot to pieces, or Cotto when he was pretty much shot or all but done. That's just what happened with their age difference. And then my only other criticism of Canelo is when he went up to 175, guys like Bivol were there, Beterbiev were there. I'm not quite sure. I think Beterbiev had already unified with Bostic. He could have fought those guys, but he fought Kovalev, who went to war with Anthony Yard 3 months after. Like, I think he fought Yard in April after just a brutal war, and then right into November, he fought Canelo for the payday. And Kovalev was all but shot at that point and stuff like that. And that's why he's kind of like, even though he has a really good resume, his fourth weight class, like his body at work at light heavyweight is pretty much all but non-existent, aside of the old Kovalev win, which is why I don't see him as a dominant four-weight champion, or like a guy who was clearly the man in 4 divisions at one point in time. Like after beating Lara, he was clearly the man at 54. After winning that close second fight with Golovkin and beating Jacobs, he was clearly the man at 60. After he unified at 68 and went undisputed, he was clearly the man. But he was never clearly the man at 75. So that's why I don't put the whole premise of he was like this 4-weight world champion. But other than that, like he is not like a cherry picker or ducker. He comes to fight, and his style is pretty pleasing. It's not been as fun to watch because he keeps loading up too damn much now. He needs to stop falling in love with his power like a fucking crip and fight the way he used to. But I don't know. I think some of the shit he gets is a little bit too unfair. Cause let's use an example. Naoya Inoue. We all love watching him. Mr. Booty Juice talked about how he loved watching Inoue fight. He avoided Estrada, Chocolatito, maybe Quadras. I think he was around at 112. Serdicaset Sorongvasai. They were killers at flyweight at that point. He moved up 2 weight classes from light fly, 108, to super fly at 115 before all those guys moved up. And, I look at a guy like Inoue, had he fought them all and lost once or twice, he would be even better, in my opinion, fighting those guys and beating them and losing to them than outright avoiding them. So that's my opinion on that. So most fighters and shit like that have done some shit that hasn't been, the best, right? But to call, Canelo the Mexican Floyd, he's nowhere near as shitty as Floyd or anything like that. That's ridiculous. A lot of these fighters that we all like to watch, they've done some questionable shit, like what I just said with Inoue. So that's my opinion on that. I don't think Canelo deserves too much hate. I do have some criticism towards his career, but overall, I would say it's really good.
Yeah, you have a sensible opinion. Thank you for calling. Call back again next time. Take care.
Yep.
All right. Let's take one more phone call, then we move back to the panel. 301, you're on the air.
What's up? Can you hear me, Mucho?
Yeah, what's up? Go ahead.
Hello? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, sorry about the other call. I had to tie up some loose ends, you know how it is. But, I don't know what happened earlier. I originally called in because someone compared Jermell Charlo to Mike Tyson.
What?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Jermell Charlo
Yeah, one of your callers, like I don't know, 6 calls ago, whatever. He said that he's like Mike Tyson. He doesn't care. You know, he says whatever or some shit like that. And I just thought that was ridiculous. Like, Jermell Charlo makes Wayne Brady look like Mike Tyson. I mean, I was just gonna say briefly, like that this fight really is a mismatch. Even though Canelo looked like he was running out of gas at times of the Ryder fight, I still feel like people like. You look at John Ryder, that guy's huge. Like, you just look at his back, you look at his neck. He's a tough dude, and he looked like he was almost out when he got put down in the 6th round. He had obviously good recovery, and he's a tough dude. Feels like Jimmy could speak on this, but that was like a very, like, pitched fight. Like, it was very, what do you call it, like, standing toe-to-toe, right? Like, both guys were in the high guard, pressing up against each other. So you have to be, like, when you're punching your muscles like that the whole time, it's kind of hard to get off the shots you want. So you're going to kind of gas, especially when you're pushing up against a guy who's bigger. I don't think it's going to be a factor with Charlo. I don't think Charlo is more wiry. I don't think he's as strong. He doesn't have a very good base. Like, his balance isn't good. Castano was able to put him where he wanted in both fights, even though he was moving better in the second. Plus, we tend to forget, like, if you really want to, I don't want to, like, examine Charlo's record too closely because it's going to take too much time, but just look at the second Castano fight. He had, like, a torn bicep going in. Whether it was partially torn or not, for a pressure fighter who relies on hooks, it's going to severely diminish him. So just take that into account. I think that's his best victory. Canelo is probably much faster, to be honest, in terms of reaction. So it's going to be like a mismatch. But I wanted to say briefly on like the hating Canelo topic, because I still have some beef with this. Like I still feel like the thing everyone really just hates him for is that drug test, the adverse finding that stalled the second fight. And then I'm still a firm believer that Triple G still won the second fight. I don't really care what anyone says. I've watched that so many times. I think people get caught up in some of the flashy shots Canelo hit him with. But if you watch, like, as soon as he hit him with those shots, Triple G came back with, like, 2. And the camera just in a different angle. He hit him as hard, if not harder. But, yeah, like, he should have fought Triple G, like, immediately after that. That would have been epic. Like, instead he fights Jacobs and Kovalev and just he fights that guy Rocky Fielding, like the absolute nobody. So yeah, like, there's a bit of that, him picking his fighters. He's not as bad as Floyd, I'm not saying that, but still, I think he deserves some hate. We like to hate, we like to troll a little bit.
All right, all right, fair enough. Anything else?
No, I mean, like, people comparing Charlo to, like, Lara or Floyd are just, like, delusional. I mean, he's nowhere near as good of a boxer as that. He still slaps. He was getting outboxed by Julian Jackson's kid, if we're knocking him out. But anyway, yeah.
All right, well, thanks for calling.
I don't know what round it's going to be, like, mid-rounds.
We'll take predictions later on. It's still too early to take predictions, but call back again when we take predictions, all right? Take care. All right, let's get back to the panel here. Guys, based on the phone calls, any comments?
Well, I'd like to say, brought up John Ryder. I'll make this quick. I would put right now, if Jermell was jumping up 2 weight classes to 168 to fight John Ryder, I'd have my money on Ryder. Like, people are saying motherfuckers who shit all over Ryder. He's a nobody. He's a bum. Yada yada yada. Listen, that dude is as tough as nails, and if it wasn't for a absolute bogus stoppage, like, he's never been off his feet until he fought Canelo. And I'm telling you right now, Jermell wouldn't have put him on his ass. He doesn't have the power to do that to Ryder. Ryder, big, strong kid and tough as nails. And I think people are underestimating that win. That's just my opinion.
Jimmy, Jermell is a 154-pounder. A lot of people are talking about the size difference. I don't know if you saw the face-off. Jermell obviously looks taller because he is taller. Canelo's thicker, but I don't know. How much do you put into the size difference?
Well, there he has the length and maybe the size, but he's never fought at 168. And it's going to be a lot different because he's going to be slower than he was at 154 because he's going to have more mass on his shoulder girdle, on his arms, on his legs. And he's a Derek James fighter. He's basically a 1-2 fighter. He's just got a little more, he's more coachable, I would say, than his older brother. But yeah, no, the size difference. Canelo's got thick joints and he's got a neck like a gallon. I mean, he's a hard dude to hurt, and that's even if you catch him clean. Anybody who spars and everybody fights him. It's always the same thing after. If they're being honest when they're talking to someone, they always say the same thing. You didn't expect how hard he was to hit because he's literally right in front of you. It's just very hard to catch him. That's when we'll know he's really slipping. When we'll see him getting caught by shots that he normally would have slipped. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now,
yeah.
but
Charlo
Jimmy,
Patel, but that's all he's got going.
But is this on the same level as Spence versus Mikey Garcia, where Mikey Garcia moved up 2 weight classes and he did look smaller? I mean, in this case, yes, like Canelo's thicker, the neck's thicker, he looks more muscular, somewhat. But Charlo, like you said, lengthwise, he has the advantage. I mean, would you even say that this is a little bit like Sugar Ray Leonard fighting Marvin Hagler? Well, okay, Marvin Hagler is a middleweight, but seems like Sugar Ray Leonard was taller. He was faster.
Yeah, and remember, Sugar Ray Leonard, people don't realize that I think he would won maybe even 2 fights off the record. Like he would have had 160-pound fights to get ready for the Hagler. Like that whole he never fought 160 before. That was a farce. He did have fights, and he trained for 160. And well, I personally don't think he beat him because I think you can't take a belt from running away from somebody. But
well, can Charlo pull something off like that? Do you think? I mean, can he do it?
No, not at all. He wouldn't be able to get the win anyways because obviously it goes back to who's the PBC right now. Just put it this way, pragmatically: which guy walks away from the PBC or retired tomorrow? Who would more financially damage the PBC?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's easy, right? Charlo's gone. He means nothing to the PBC. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's just the facts.
Okay, but removing the judges, can Charlo pull off a performance like that, like a Sugar? I mean, I know this is an exaggeration, but like a Sugar.
I haven't seen him do it. Yeah, no, I haven't seen him do it. I haven't seen him have the ability to do it. If he could do that, then why would he lose to Tony Harrison or Castano in the first fight, which he did lose that fight? And why would he lose so many rounds? And to what the caller just said, too, about Julian Johnson. People don't talk about that. He got along. If you really look at his unification, people are always like, oh, I mean, it's really not that difficult. You want to talk about Canelo's was much tougher at 168 than Jamal's was at 154. Julian Jackson's son had fought a guy who had 7 professional fights the fight before he fought Charlo, and he retired literally right after the fight. So this kid was a ham and egger, and that's who fought for the vacant title. So that's how he got one of his titles. The other one was that Rosario kid who was just a flash in the pan. So the other one he won was off Castano, which was a legitimate fight and a legitimate victory. But it was not no fucking hard run to the title, you know what I mean? A lot softer than Canelo's was at 168, is my point.
Mm-hmm. All right. Having said that, let's take another phone call here. 513 on the air.
What's up, BBA? How y'all doing?
What's up? What's on your mind?
BBA?
This is Bucho, but go ahead.
Yeah, man. Hey. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was saying, so you say y'all don't respect Mayweather? I said, if y'all don't respect Mayweather, you can't respect Alvarez. He beat all them guys. That sounds crazy. That's like, how could you not respect Mayweather's resume? If you don't respect his resume, how could you respect Canelo Alvarez's resume? He got better opponents on his resume than Canelo.
I think that there's some fights. In my opinion, there's some fights that Mayweather avoided. And, that Pacquiao fight, yeah. I mean, he did beat Pacquiao. I mean, listen, I can do a whole show on this. I can do a whole fucking show on this. But I'm not saying Canelo has an amazing record either.
Yeah, and he fought the guy you talked about he avoided. How can you avoid a guy you fought?
Oh, who are you talking about?
He fought Pacquiao. How did he avoid him?
Yeah, that
How
fight
did he
was
avoid him?
way past its prime. He was over marinated. He was boring as hell. Also, I mean, Jesus Christ, come on.
Right, but I'm saying he beat these guys, but I'm thinking that Canelo he need to come back and fight Benavidez if he can get past Charlo, because he's avoiding the guy right now. Just imagine if that was Mayweather avoiding him, what you would be saying.
Well, that's the thing. If Canelo doesn't fight, I understand what you're saying. If Canelo doesn't fight Mayweather, I'm gonna criticize Canelo for sure. There's still time.
Right.
There's still time.
Right, and Canelo should have beat Mayweather when he fought him. He was too young, and Mayweather was 36. He should have beat his old ass. So it's like, it's Mayweather clearly got the better resume. But far as the Charlo, I think if Charlo could pull off this upset, you gotta make him number one pound for pound fighter in the world.
I agree. I think I agree with you. I mean, that's a good point. That's a good point. If Charlo wins this fight, you gotta give him a lot of credit. He's moving up 2 weight divisions, and he's fighting another undisputed champion. Absolutely, I agree. He should move up in top 2.
He would be in the top 10. But he would not be number 1, just on sheer accomplishments.
Oh, well, you're right. He can't over. Go ahead.
He's also beating the face of boxing also, if he wins. He's beating the face of boxing, Canelo.
That's a financial thing.
This is a very hard feat.
Yeah, that's a financial. But he would be beating another undisputed champion too. I mean, you gotta give him credit for that if he does it. I don't know where you rank him. I don't know where you would rank him. I mean, some people are gonna say number 1, other people are gonna say number 5. Whatever.
Well, he would be a 2-time undisputed champion if that were to happen, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Yeah, and just to jump up 2 weight classes to be the undisputed. For a guy to jump up 2 weight classes and be the undisputed champ, you got to make him number 1. That's like a new way jumping up to 135 and beating Devin Haney for undisputed lightweight.
No, it's not. No, because he started at 108. That's a big difference. If he was starting his career at 126,
but he would still be the number 1 fighter in the world.
Inoue has titles in 4 different divisions. He's been Ring Magazine champion, lineal champion. He has beat one Hall of Fame inductee, or future Hall of Fame inductee after another. And you go back, he won his first world title in his 7th pro fight. He's had 24 fights, 22 of them have been world titles, and he's obliterated people. So yes, although I would give credit, I would give him credit for it, but I would not let him.
He still hasn't beat nobody nowhere near as talented as Canelo Alvarez. That'll be way over Inoue. He ain't fought nobody on Canelo level, and you know that. Canelo, one of the best fighters in the world. He's better than all these guys.
In his division, but if you follow the lower divisions, if you fought the lower divisions,
you jump up to
Omar Neves and stuff. He was an unbelievable world title, 2-time world champion, 16 title defenses. He's a Hall of Famer. They'll punch his ticket. So it all depends on, I mean, again, I would give Charlo, if he did beat Canelo, absolutely, he'd be my top 5. Absolutely, but I would not say his road to that. You can't above everybody else accomplishments. You got to take it as a whole, not just one particular fight. Just because he beats Canelo,
no, it's not just one. That's 2-time undisputed.
Wins.
Okay, Inoue got 1-time undisputed. He only did it once. He hasn't become undisputed twice like Crawford. So if he does it twice and jump up and beat Devin Haney, you're gonna have to put him number 1. He hasn't even did it twice.
He's not going to 135. He'd go up to 126 after. Right, but he's going to unify 122. They're in the middle of making that fight right now. That's actually looks like it's going to be made before the end of the year. And if he does do that, then there's no questions asked. He even passes Crawford if that happens, because then that'll be 4 divisions, 2-time division. And again, it's in a totality. Like, you can't say, like, if just because he beats Canelo, he doesn't then absorb all of Canelo's achievements and his greatness of what he did in the past too.
No,
Again, we get all the credit in the world.
I'm talking
I
about
just
what he
can't.
achieved. He,
You know what I mean?
at 154, undisputed, and then jumping up 2 weight classes and getting undisputed. That's your own achievement. Nobody else can match that. Who else jumped up 2 weight classes? Even the new way didn't jump up 2 weight classes and do it. He went 1 weight class at a time. So he gonna get more credit because he's jumping up two weight classes. Doing it.
But
twice.
he's now been champion. But he's now been champion of 4 weight divisions. This will be just Charlo doing it.
Right,
Even if
right.
you count the 2, say 3. So say 3. All right. So let's say he bypassed 60. If you want to give it to him, we'll even give it to him in fucking, like, you know. But yeah, absolutely. But that's still just 3 divisions. Whereas Inoue's won in 4 divisions. So I'm just saying, again, I'm not saying that if Charlo does pull this off, he deserves all the flowers he would get. Don't get me wrong, but you can't negate everything to Crawford, because right now I have Crawford kind of 1A just because the size of that fight and whatnot. And just honestly, to be honest with you, the way he was denigrated for 5 years and shit on and treated like shit. So that's why I kind of give it to Crawford.
Hey, that was a good ass fight. The way he showed people how to do it, that's how you do it. Do not leave it up to the judges. You bring your judges in the ring with you like a new way.
I agree.
Bring your judges in there.
I agree.
Hey, much love to y'all. Thanks for taking my call. I'm gonna keep listening, y'all.
All right, take care.
All right, brother. Take care.
That's true. Don't leave it to the judges. Go for the fucking knockout. Go for the stoppage, and people will remember you for that. Just like we remember how Crawford destroyed. We still we're still talking about Spence. Sorry, we're still talking about Crawford beating up Spence because he was so spectacular. So that's what you get instead of a fucking decision. Instead of a boring ass decision.
And you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. The way he beat him cemented him in history. Now he's going to be remembered as an all-time great welterweight. I mean, and again, the 5 years of hatred and shit said about that dude. You know, and what I don't like right now, can I just interject this whole, the Spence side is saying they're trying to grab something out of this. Well, at the end of the day, this is this is all props to Al Heyman for making it. Bullshit. If you had any honesty, you would know. This was not, like when Bud said, I want to thank Spence. He never said, I want to thank Al Heyman, because he knows Al Heyman didn't want this fight. Because remember, their initial thing was they wanted to feed Spence to Canelo. Right? That was the guy they wanted him to fight. And then when that wasn't happening, remember the second thing? We want him to move up and fight Thurman at 154. Al Heyman did not want him to take this fight. There's the reason why he avoided this thing for years. It was Spence who said, fuck it, I want this fight. Let's do this. I've heard enough shit. And I'll give him credit for that. And I don't take anything away from Spence for that. You know what I mean?
Jimmy, you make a good point.
Showed hard.
Jimmy, you make a really good point.
Up,
I'm starting to think the way Crawford put a beating on Spence, the approach that he took to fight him as a southpaw the whole fight and use his lead right as a weapon makes me think now that's why they pulled out of that old man Pacquiao fight, who was like 42. What does Pacquiao do as a southpaw? What was one of his best weapon was his lead right. So it makes me think that you're 100% right. They try to avoid, Al Heyman tried to avoid that fight, and that's why Crawford at the end thanked Spence for making the fight and not Al Heyman.
Interesting. Could be.
Exactly.
I'm going to find out. Bob Arum said that Errol Spence doesn't like to fight southpaws because he only faced 2 in his entire career. So if he faces Errol again, if he faces Crawford, he would lose. So same thing with Pacquiao. That was a southpaw.
Yeah. Yep. All right, guys. 2 super chats here. Slugger Sam, he says, ban the caller. He mentioned Benavides so Mirage can come back. Yeah, probably. Don't mention Benavides on this show or else Mirage is going to show up. Roland Curtis, thank you for your super chat. He says, Canelo Alvarez did a Super Bowl commercial. Tank Davis did a YouTube live stream with Kai Cenat, and Bud Crawford did Good Morning America. Which one looks like the face of boxing right now? Well, certainly it's not Spence. I guess Crawford is. Crawford is now bigger than Spence Jr. And I think, unfortunately for Spence, this is my opinion. I think it's over for him. But we'll see what happens. Let's take a phone call here. 916, you're on the air. Yo. All right. He hung up. Let's take another phone call. 410, you're on the air.
What's happening, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
What's on your mind?
Yeah. Boxing euphemisms. I don't know. Just like the one you just said. Get the knockout. Go for the knockout. Yeah, man. It's not that easy. I can't stand that euphemism. Of course, the knockout seals the victory. How many fighters you think went into the ring thinking and hoping and trying to knock their opponent out? The other guy doesn't always go along with that. And when you go for the knockout, especially if you're really gunning for it, like you have to have it, you take the chances of getting knocked out raises for you exponentially. See a million examples. See Manny Marquez, AJ, what's his name, Ruiz. See, it's just not that simple. I mean, of course, if you get the knockout, that's good, that's great. Anyway, Bud Crawford, yeah, pound for pound number one. I keep hearing people say, maybe I missed something. I don't know. I keep hearing people say, like, this poor Bud, woe is me, Bud, people hating on him. I don't know. I must have missed out on that. I didn't see, I mean, he's got fans that like him, and he's got detractors, just like any fighter. I don't see.
Let me ask you, brother.
Where that
Let me ask you, brother. Are you on Twitter? Are you on Twitter?
What's that? No.
Are you on Twitter? Well, there you go.
No, sir.
That's where majority of boxing.
Well, I mean, and that's the only place it's places on Twitter.
But that's where majority of boxing, discord happens now, without a doubt, including amongst pundits, amongst fighters, occasionally a little bit on Instagram, but it's heavily Twitter. And for 5 years, there's been an unbelievable where they posted pictures of his wife and talked about her weight and called her a gutter whore. Listen, unbelievable shit they put this dude through. And guys with lots of followers, and I mean, his sisters was involved. They were tagging his sisters in. No, this was I've never seen it. I'm not one to sell hyperbole and go, woe is me, you're a fighter. You know what I mean? So what? You're going to have to deal with negativity? I understand that. But if you were on Twitter and you would have seen, that's the reason why the grief going after Spence fanboys so hard. A lot of people on Twitter are just drilling these dudes because it was out of control. And anybody who was on Twitter, and just even if you're not posting, just reading it, it was brutal. Brutal.
Well, my synopsis on Bud Crawford, it may be a little unpopular. I like Bud Crawford. I've been watching him the whole time. You know, he's been visible, you know, on TV. However, I guess you could call me a Bud Crawford critic, I guess. You know, I don't mean to criticize the guy, but his resume, I've never been that impressed with. I'm sorry. I don't see any greatness there. Spence, maybe. I thought Spence was a modern-day great. Maybe not a legendary great, but a modern-day great fighter. I mean, that, to me, that's hands down the best fighter he's fought. The other guys just don't see the greatness there. And where he goes from here is a real dichotomy, too, because he's 36, or soon to be 36. That's not young for a boxer. We know that. And there's no great opponents around him, really. That's why you hear this talk about Tank 3 divisions below or Canelo 3 divisions above. He's saying he wants big fights, but I don't see where there are big fights. Fighting Charlo coming off of a loss, which is the only way that fight happens, because we know if Charlo beats Canelo and pulls that massive upset, likely going to be a rematch, or he'll stay at that weight, or he'll, he doesn't seem to want to fight Bud Crawford anyway. There's no big fights, and there's no greatness around him. And so when I look at his career as a whole, this Spence fight is probably going to be easily the crowning achievement as far as opponents are concerned. And it's unfortunate for Bud Crawford because, Oscar De La Hoya had, Pernell Whitaker and Trinidad and Mosley. Yeah, great fighters around him. Ray Leonard had, of course, Duran and Benitez and Tommy Hearns and Hagler. Bud Crawford just you know, in this era, it just didn't happen like that. The guys that were considered the top guys, we know who they are, Garcia and Porter, and he wasn't able to fight them when they were really the top guys, and Thurman. And so I just don't know where he goes from here. He's got great accomplishments. You can't take that from him. But as a whole, I just wonder. I wonder about him.
No, he's playing with house money, though, right now. He's playing with house money because the one thing that he has that nobody has is that he's I mean, look, I know it's watered down. I heard BDA talk about it, about the undisputed reign. And there's a lot of truth to that. But the fact that you've done something that nobody else does, and then you do it against a guy who was your nemesis for numbers of years, and you do it in the fashion that he did it. There's like he's right now, in terms of money, I get what you mean. Like there might not be a huge money fight for him, but in terms of like legacy, I think he's cool and he's just playing with house money right now.
Well, of
he's
course,
not gonna have.
He's cool as far as what he's accomplished. You know, being a two-weight undisputed champion will always be the first. He'll always be the first guy to be a two-weight undisputed champion.
It was an Oscar De La Hoya career or Miguel Cotto. He's not gonna have those kind of careers where there's so many big names in their resume. But what he has is a solid career, and he's done something that nobody else has done. That when you take
and
that
again, he'll never. You know, I'm not denying that. Of course, I'm not denying that. And of course, he's a Hall of Famer. He's the first two-weight undisputed champion. He'll always be the first guy, even if Anyway does it here in a couple months. Bud will always be the first guy. But we've historically judged fighters. Greatness upon greatness, you see, who they beat and how they look beating them. And for Bud, it's a bit of an enigma. His career there's nothing on his resume that really stands out other than this whooping he put on Spencer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you outside of Spence and to a lower degree Sean Porter, because at that time Sean Porter, look, that was his last fight. But Sean Porter had never been stopped, and he has a really good resume where he fought his peers, all his peers. He's lost more than he's won, but that's a guy that was not even close to being stopped, and he got stopped by Bud. And then Bud's last fight against his equal, okay, a guy who's supposed to be his equal. Even if you thought Bud was a little bit better, Spence was a little bit better. It was 50-50, and he showed like, nah, this is not even 50-50. You know, at least in that performance.
That's why I like myself. I never thought it was. I never had any doubt in my mind. I knew he was always going to beat Spence. I didn't go to.
You get what I'm saying, right?
Him 100%.
Even though you were confident, but there was
yes, it was. Absolutely. As far as Vegas is concerned, and the whole. Yeah. My think is Crawford, though, looking back now, I think if you're looking at the fight, it now calls into question Spence. Like I've always said, who is Spence fought? Danny Garcia hasn't had a legitimate victory since 2013. He's never had not one solid win at welterweight, ever. So Spence fans have puffed up Spence to such a degree that they made him think he was everybody, that he was something he wasn't. And like me, Steve Kim, and a bunch of other people saying, wait till that fight happens. He's going to show everybody Spence is not the guy people thinks he is.
We could look back and be like, and I agree with you, Jimmy, but at the time, all these guys, well, they were excluding Bud Crawford, obviously, because of promotional things and other stuff.
Yeah, they blackballed him, dude. Bud just said on television, yeah, they pushed me out.
Years, and they all had tough fights with each other. These were not walkaways. Bud, when he got the opportunity, he walked away with those victories. Like there was no doubt. Obviously, he stopped both of them. He stopped the Sean Porter. Who look, I'll run down the list real quick. He stopped Sean Porter that went 12 rounds with Thurman, Spence, and Garcia in fights that he could have won. Okay? Fights Bud Crawford, he gets stopped in 10 rounds. Earl Spence,
and then he retired.
All those guys except Thurman.
Yeah, he retired.
He went 12 rounds. goes in there and he fights Bud Crawford, and it's not even a fight.
All right. Well, we gotta move on here. And by the way, caller, I just want to say something about the. I mean, I know some fighters can go for the stoppage, and that doesn't mean that they're bad fighters. But the fighters that do get stoppages consistently, I think, should get more credit than what they get right now. And I'm talking about, for example, Gennady Golovkin. A lot of people didn't rate him that high, but this guy was destroying his opponents. And so many fighters wish they could have done what Golovkin did. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but look what happened when Golovkin started fighting the top guys in the division, Canelo, Jacobs, and Derevyanchenko. He didn't get the stoppages. In fact, you could argue that he lost 2 of those fights, or he maybe even lost 3 of those fights, because I think he lost to Derevyanchenko. He stopped the guys that he was heavily favored to beat. Okay, kudos to him for doing that. He deserves credit for that.
Derevyanchenko, I mean, by that point,
it's
he was
one thing to stop.
Well, sorry to cut you off, but I mean,
it's another thing to stop a world-class fighter.
Yeah, but the Derevyanchenko fight, I mean, at that point, let's be honest, Golovkin was way past his prime. I mean, he was already kind of past his prime when he fought Golovkin. When he fought Canelo.
Way past his prime.
Yeah, but when he fought Canelo, I think he beat him the first time.
Here's the book on Golovkin. He fought 3 top-tier fighters, and I'm going to include Derevyanchenko on that list. 4 fights. You could argue that he lost 3 of those fights, or at least 2, and drawed in 1. The knockouts and the dominance stopped when he fought a world-class fighter. Kudos to him for stopping those also-rans during his title defenses. That was an impressive run. But when you fighting a world-class fighter, it ain't just as easy to say, go for the knockout, just get the knockout.
I would argue that, I mean, what Golovkin did wasn't coincidence. I mean, he fought contenders and former world champions, or fighters like Martin Murray, who should have been world champions, but were denied that because he got robbed, basically, in Argentina, in Germany. So, and he managed to stop them, dominate them, and stop them. That's not a coincidence, and that's not because he was fighting tomato cans. I mean, this wasn't Deontay Wilder by any fucking stretch of the imagination. You know what I mean? Like,
you see, it's not a coincidence either that when he fought the elite guys, he didn't stop them.
These guys were elite.
Fight, he was heavily favored to win that fight.
These guys were elite. I mean, maybe you don't.
No, they were not elite.
Yes,
not
they were
even
elite.
Close.
Just because they weren't promoted by the PBC, like Sean Porter and all of these guys.
They weren't elite
those guys weren't elite
that
either.
That guy Murray was never even
well, then,
a champion.
in my opinion, Sean Porter wasn't elite either. I don't know why you have him elite. I don't know why you have Danny Garcia as an elite. These guys weren't elite. These guys are not elite.
I didn't say that they were elite. I just said they were the top of the division.
So what's your definition? So why is Danny Jacobs elite and not Martin Murray?
Well, Danny Jacobs was a champion at least. Was he not? Was he not a top middleweight?
So was Martin Murray. Martin Murray was elite. He was a top middleweight. He was a contender.
The IBF rules. He came in as a cruiserweight. He came in almost 190 pounds that night.
Not only that,
it was insane. I was there for that fight. It was the size differential was so far. He literally threw his chance of winning the IBF right out the window and got fined because he came in 12 pounds over the agreed upon weight. And that's a big deal.
Yeah, and Jimmy, I'd like to say that Golovkin, he may not have stopped Danny Jacobs, but he fucking tried to stop Danny Jacobs. And I've seen other fighters, he did try to. He dropped Danny. Hold on. He dropped Danny Jacobs, and he might not have stopped Danny Jacobs, like I said. But go look at the 12th round when that bell rang. Jacobs collapsed. As if that was his victory. That was and hold on. And so that Golovkin tried to go for the stoppage. So you gotta give him credit for that. I mean, he didn't get it, but he fucking tried. You have all these other fighters who don't even fucking try to go for the knockout. And then the excuse is, well, I don't have to go for that stoppage. Well, at least fucking try to go for the stoppage.
And those were just 3 opponents he didn't stop. But, Canelo, if Triple G didn't stop him, I don't think nobody's going to. So you can't really give him that's not a knock on Triple G because Canelo have a fucking iron chin.
Yeah, go look at Canelo's neck.
I would agree with that. But I'm not going to step back on what I've seen as his career developed. When he fought the top guys, he went the distance with them in very close fights. When he fought the also-rans, he dominated them. Okay, he deserves credit for that. That was impressive. But I'm not going to make it something more than what it was. I know if you go look at the odds on those fights, Golovkin was heavily favored to win those fights, all those title defenses. Now, Golovkin was a hell of a fighter. I'm not begrudging Golovkin. My main point is this. When you fight elite fighters, it's oftentimes real difficult to get the knockout. It rarely looks like it looked 2 weeks ago
I understand.
with Bud whooping Spence.
No, listen, caller.
Okay.
I'm with you. Caller. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you. It's hard to get the stoppage, especially if you're fighting an elite boxer, obviously. But my point is, you gotta go and try to go for the stoppage. And I see some of these boxers not even try to go for a stoppage because they're too scared to get.
I don't always see that.
They're too scared to get.
I don't see that so much as is, if you take chances trying to get the knockout, you up the chance of getting knocked out.
So play it safe.
Let's just face it.
So play it
there's
safe.
Tons of examples of that.
Exactly. So play it safe.
Well, you could call it playing it safe, or you could call it
that's what
I'm
it
not
is.
going to take unreasonable chances and get myself knocked out.
I'm gonna do what I have to do to not leave it to the judges. I agree, caller. It's a difference. It's a difference of mentality. That's what it is. Difference of mentality. But caller, thanks for calling. We're gonna move on. Thanks for call back again.
All right, thanks. Great show.
Take care. All right. Let's take another phone call here. 646, you're on the air. 646. You're on the air. All right. No answer here. Let's get back to the panel. Guys, any comments on the phone calls? I gotta go take a leak, so you guys take over.
He made a good point. Listen, I understand where he's coming from. It is hard to get the knockout, and great fighters try to go for the knockout, and that's what Golovkin did. He tried to go for a knockout, even against Canelo, who's probably an all-time great. More than likely, he's an all-time great fighter. He is.
And all the way up to the end, he remained durable with the chin, and the hard punch is the last thing to go. Unlike Spence, who broke, given the circumstances of his life, the drinking, the car crash, the training in the Texas heat, got him. But Golovkin, he remained durable until the very end. So if you compare, is that to Terrence Crawford? Is that is a Spence Canelo's Golovkin? No, it's not. Right? You could say Triple G got the tougher chin, the harder punch, and even the better jab. So all the way up till the end, he remained a world-class fighter, and you could tell by the things that I just mentioned. Those things never went away.
Oh, absolutely. And that call, he calls in. He's always got good takes. You know what I mean? Just because we disagree on some things, it's not never personal. But I just looking back, because you really break it down, and like people weren't giving Bud that not green machine. I can never pronounce his name right. The Hungarian kid or whatever. Thank you, brother. Yes. Thank you, brother. You're always awesome with the names, Gonzalo. But that dude, people don't give him the credit that kid gets. How many welterweights ever called him out from the PBC? You never heard anybody calling that kid out. He's one of the hardest punches. He just blows his load by the 6th round, and he caught fucking Bud tight. And my thing is this: Bud learned after that Postel fight. Remember, he got crucified. Everybody really hurt his career, actually, his reputation, because it was boring. In the last round, he kind of ran instead of trying to finish it. And he learned. And, to his credit, he changed. He's like, okay, no more. You want to see fucking, you know what I mean? I'll do it the other way. And now he's stopped everybody. I think he has 100% stop ratio at welterweight, like 100% knockout ratio at welterweight. And and just a fanatic in the emphatic way. He just ripped Spence apart. That fight wasn't even close. It wasn't. I knew he was going to beat him, but I didn't think it was going to be like that. And it just comes down to, like Gonzalo said, he's only fought 2 lefties his whole entire career. And that's why Bud came out left. And Bomac, normally I don't follow a lot of these conversations and whatnot. But after, I wanted to see what Bomac had to say, and I really was and I got to give him credit, man. Like he's talked about, he said, I studied Errol Spence every fight I could find him that was recorded. And I saw him and Bud went over things that it was just very, very basic. He just does things big, strong, but basic. Basic long push jab followed by the right hand, and he pressures people and he pushes pace, and most guys can't handle it. And he said, I knew Bud had the footwork, the angles, and punching power in both hands. That's something Spence had never seen before. And I think then, like you said, added the alcohol and the fucking lifestyle outside the gym. But Spence never believed that would happen. Because even when Bud said, man, back in 2019, yeah, and when I stop him, y'all going to say, oh, he was too old, he was weight trained. And sure enough, that's the fucking narrative now. I mean, they're going as far to say the man has brain damage. Again, they never said anything about brain damage when he fought Ugas, when he fought Danny Garcia. And then the thing is, what proof do you have? Like somebody said, what proof do you have? Well, how about that he passed the fucking Nevada Athletic Commission that has the most stringent fucking neuro exam of any commission in the fucking country. Mind you, and people say, well, you trust the commissions to stop a big fight from happening? Really? Because that's the same commission that stopped the Pacquiao fight from happening, the same doctor who listed Spence as unfit to fight Pacquiao. And that fight was worth more money than the Crawford one was. It was the same doctor who said, no, he found that the eye thing that 2 other doctors missed. So my proof that there was no brain damage is that he passed the most, the strongest of all fucking neurological exams that they offer. CT3, I think they're called. So that's my fucking thing on that.
Why? How come we ended up with Spence and Crawford here? What's going on?
Say again.
What?
Oh no, I was just gonna mention also another thing to consider. I mean, the divisions were thin. But that's just my opinion because it's just kind of like crazy that everybody goes ghost. And I'm talking about Golovkin, and at the same time, I'm giving a little credit to Crawford. When everybody disappears, everybody's ghost at 140 and 47 for many years on end. Something's up. Okay, the resume, you can question that, but all of a sudden, there's no world contenders available.
Did we lose Gonzalo?
No, I'm just saying, everybody disappeared. Where was the competition? Okay, because there was nobody out there. There was people out there. They didn't all of a sudden just, like, these contenders disappeared for Crawford and Golovkin.
Mm-hmm. The PBC shut him out, Gonzalo. We know it. They deliberately shut that dude out
90
for 4
seconds.
years. We want 80-20. 80-20 split, which is an insult. That's like saying we don't want to fight. Then you need a belt. He gets a belt. It has to be an 80-20 split. You got to come on this side of the street. And fucking Bud did everything they asked. And if it wasn't for Spence stepping up and making that fight happen, it wouldn't have, because Al Hammond did not want that fight to happen. You could tell because he tried to offer Spence up to fucking Canelo, remember? And then he tried to offer him up to Thurman at 154 because he didn't want to lose that belt. Because remember, Bud only has one more fight with the PBC, and that's it. He's a free agent. He's got one more fight, and then he's done with the PBC. He can go sign with DAZN, who I believe is kind of laying the groundwork now by that fucking things that Eddie Hearn was just saying about him the other day. Like really sucking up to him and put him up on a pedestal, probably to try to get his attention.
I'm sorry, Joe. Okay, are you saying now that the brain injury thing doesn't have anything to do with the loss? Or
no. That's not what I'm saying. I'm sorry, I should have made myself clearer. No, there's a whole contingent of people now who are just straight up saying he's brain damaged. That was not a fucking true victory. Bud should not get the credit he deserves. Literally making videos with that in the headline. Bud should not get the credit he's getting. And it just outline. My thing is this. Cool if you fucking think that way, right? But where was that talk when he beat Ugas? Because I thought he looked shady then. Remember, didn't we all say, wow, we didn't think he took those punches well? Yeah, but they weren't saying that. They were saying you couldn't be sure. What are you talking about?
That's why I think these people, I'm not trying to toot our own horn here, but I think that's why people should listen more to this show and the Crawford fans now are guilty of the same thing because they get so invested with the Errol Spence crowd that now they're going for the kill and they don't want to hear anything else. And they go, well, where were those excuses before? But like you said, you mentioned it. Jimmy Chief mentioned it. And you guys aren't Errol Spence fans. So, I think at this point, the discussion gets into the area of do fights take place in a vacuum? where no excuses, no excuses. Well, sometimes you got to factor things in to make a win, and that's what Chief and Jimmy were saying before the fight. And that's what sort of convinced me to pick Crawford more than ever. Was not only is he a better fighter, but on top of that, Errol Spence has not looked the same since the accident. He's partying it up. He balloons up in weight. So it is what it is.
BDA, can I just quickly read a super chat here before I forget? There's a super chat here.
Just real quick. Sorry, I wasn't finished. So that's to Jimmy's point. It's true. More people, I hate to promote our own brand here, but it's people should listen to this show because Jimmy, Chief, and other people saw the signs that the guy wasn't the same. And now they want to hatch onto it. Well, you should have done that before when you heard this show, if you heard.
Just quickly, super chat, Don Robo Crip. Thank you for subscribing to the BDA Loyal Membership Program. He says, Benavidez is a better name in 2023 than whatever was left of Errol Spence Jr., but Canelo won't get the credit for it. What do you think?
I don't know if he's a better name than Spence going into the Crawford fight. I'm going to say no. But I think that if Benavidez fucking fights somebody and, okay, he fought Caleb Plant. He won decisively against him. I'm going to give him credit for that because I think Caleb Plant is a decent fighter at 168 pounds. He's probably above decent, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to 168, don't get it twisted. I'm not a fucking fanboy of Canelo. I'm saying that in that space where they fight at, he's at the very least a top 5 fighter, right? Caleb Plant at 168 pounds, and Benavidez beat him up. So I'm going to give him credit for that. And if Benavidez goes in there and beats another guy, like everybody keeps talking about this Morrell guy, even though I think he might be a little green, but fine. There's people that think that he can win, and they will like that fight. He goes in there, fights him, and he wipes him out. And he goes and fights Canelo, and Canelo beats him. At this point of his career, a guy who's done everything in his career at this point, that's going to mark his place in the history of boxing, and he still beats Benavidez, you're going to give him, who's not going to give him credit, especially if he stops him or fucking wins 10 or 11 rounds out of 12 or every round. If it's one of those kind of victories, people got to calm down with this. Nobody wants to give my fighters credit. They're not your fighters, all right? They're just boxers at the end of the day. And there's going to be hatred. People are hating on Crawford right now.
You can't talk about my like that.
Right. My mans and them. So it's like, dude, who gives a fuck, man, what other people think? Look, I didn't like Floyd Mayweather. That if anybody asked me, he's a fucking all-time great. Bottom line, that's nothing I can say about that. I don't like him and his little politics and his stupid things that he has to say. But in terms of what he did in the ring, he's an ATG. There's no doubt about that.
Right. All right. Somebody, there was a funny comment here from I Am Your Leader. He says, Spence has been drunk for 5 years. Damn. All right. Let's, before we go, let's... What? Somebody wants to say something?
I was going to mention, okay, I'm not defending Derek Crawford so much, but I have to say something that if people say, who has he fought? Now it kind of makes sense that Errol Spence was ducking him for 5 years. Because all of a sudden, right before the fight, Errol Spence was like the Terminator, the guy that did fight the names. But if he was the guy, how come he didn't want to fight fucking Crawford before that? Now it kind of makes sense that the whole side of the other side of the street thing was true.
Yeah, you could make that argument. I mean, he got destroyed. I mean, what do you want? He got destroyed.
Errol Spence was supposed to be this machine that, and that was the thing. For 4 years, he was Crawford don't want that smoke. He knows he's gonna get beat up, blah blah blah, and then he goes in there and obliterates him. And now it's he was having epileptic fits beyond the dressing room and blah blah blah. It's like, come on, but give him a little credit. At least. You don't want to give full credit, fine, but give him a little.
I give him credit because look, going into that fight, I thought Spence was gonna beat him, even though there was a little doubt in my mind. I thought it was gonna be a close fight. And that it was going to go to the scorecards, and Spence was going to be given the benefit of the doubt. That was my feeling going in. And so the fact that basically what I'm saying is it's a 50-50 fight, and it didn't turn out to be that way. It was one-sided by Bud Crawford. It was a domination. I got to give him credit. I have to give him credit, even if there was a decline on Spence. And I do believe that there's some type of decline because every fighter is a human being. And sometimes it's all about fighting a guy at the right time. You could be looking good in your fights going in. Let's say you get stoppages like Spence stopped Ugas. But we're going to remember that moment where he got hurt and he's looking around to see if his teeth are still in place. And, that's what we're going to look at. And then we're going to say, like I said, I said this. I said, even though I got Spence, I was like, dude, if he does that against Crawford's going to jump on him. There's no doubt about that. He's just going to jump on him, and he's not going to let up. He's not going to be passive like a Danny Garcia or Ugas. He's not. He's just going to go for the kill.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is what I thought.
That's what he did.
Yeah, this is what I thought. Same shit.
Yeah.
Because he would have just recognized, because if he would have faced them when he made those comments about the other side of the street, he could have probably had a chance to beat him, but he didn't. So you got to blame him and the PBC for marinating the fight.
Right.
So it's one of those lessons learned.
Sometimes we think, but we don't know. I think a couple of years ago, Spence had a better chance to beat Crawford. But now that the fight happened, I don't know. I'm not too sure, because what if he was 100% better? I mean, okay, maybe he doesn't get knocked out in 9 rounds. Maybe he gets knocked out in the 12th. I don't know, in a more competitive fight. But you get what I'm saying? Is like, these are the assumptions. When the opportunity comes, and let's not forget, Bud Crawford is the older fighter. He's not the younger fighter. All right? It's the other way around.
They fucked up and let Bud grow into fucking welterweight. When they should have fought him was right when he stepped up to 147. Not, you need a belt, you need to do this. They should have taken him then when he was still acclimating to the weight. They allowed him to get not only acclimated, like almost ready to move to 154. So he was a solid. The muscle was there. He had muscle memory at that weight class. He did everything he could do wrong. He started drinking to the point where he's flipping a fucking pasta rocket driving home. And then every time you see him in public after that, he shit face again when he's been court ordered not to drink. So clearly there was something going on there with the boozing. Mr. BVA was the first one to actually talk about that. He's the one who brought it to my attention. And so, yeah, you're 100% right, recognize. They fucked around. One of those, the shot, you fucked around too long and found out. You let him. In so many ways, you should have taken that fight a long time ago.
All right. We steered away from the main topic of the show, which was Canelo and Charlo. But yes. Who's that?
Can I mention something about that fight? Because I heard you speaking earlier, how Charlo have a chance. Yes, definitely utilize the jab. Particularly, I think the straight stabbing, straight punch, the straight jab to the pit of the stomach. Remember how Jermell Charlo caught Banana Rosario with one of those punches that he was having seizures on the floor? And if you think about, if you remember Canelo versus Caleb Plant hurt Canelo with maybe a straight right to the pit of the stomach as well. Not a jab, but a straight right. So if you think Canelo, he keeps his hands up high. He's got a pretty tight guard, the thick neck, the tough chin, and he knows how to roll with the punches. Mm-hmm. But if anything, he remains a little bit more pliable around the waist to keep that waist on the swivel. Not that he's always moving excessively, but he's always watching what you're doing in order to remain pliable to slip a punch. And you tell me where the weak spot is? It's right there, like I mentioned, how Plant caught him. Because he's like a fucking crocodile. He got the arm over the top, but yeah, there's a little bit of a soft spot in the belly, obviously, because you got to do the breathing there. Once again, remain pliable. So there's sign of life there that, if this were a fucking video game, that's where you attack them, where you see the sign of life, because obviously he wants to remain,
how much of a chance do you get Charlo? How big is the chance of him beating Canelo?
I'd say about 35%. He's an episodic fighter. I mean, he'll fight in spurts, but I would keep it down to 1s and 2s. As much as I don't like to see fights when fighters throw ones and twos, but I would maybe throw a 1, 2, and a 3. Because since Canelo got the high guard, I would wrap the third punch around his guard. So I would basically just throw a 1, 2, and one of those would be a throwaway punch, then really hook into the third punch, then get on the bike. So he could win like that. Especially if they want to make Crawford versus Charlo and they want to take away Canelo's playbook, which I don't think will happen because I don't think that fight will make as many as the remaining 2 fights with Canelo under the PBC. But I'm just saying.
All right, 35%. And to attack the body. Interesting.
Attack the body with the straights. Straights and in what you're gonna do, I think what I would do, I would go back, let Canelo come in, then come forward and try to run him into something. A straight punch, but that would be kind of hard because Canelo got the high guard. But then I would wrap a punch around the guard, so not throw more than 3 punches. Maybe 1 throwaway. That way I won't be lingering like heavy. So I can think about using my legs to step back. Always staying on point.
All right. What else can we talk about here? Recognize a Matrix. Did you watch the press conference? I'm assuming you didn't. It wasn't that interesting, to be honest. All right. Recognize a Matrix is taking a shit. Recognize. All right. I don't know where he is. I was going to ask him about his thoughts on Jermell not being or acting tough in that press conference, if that actually meant anything.
Sorry, go ahead, man. I got caught up.
Somebody, I just saw the picture that Never Sober posted here. I'm gonna post it on the screen. Recognize. I don't know if you saw the press conference, but in the press conference, Jermell Charlo, people are saying he didn't look aggressive. He looked meek, weak in a sense. He was giving a lot of respect to Canelo. Do you think that's gonna play a factor in the fight?
No, I don't think. Look, it's going to come down to execution and preparation to execute all those game plans. And if it works out for him, tip your hat off to him. But I think the whole, showing respect. This is how these look. It's probably a weakness of them, and I think that we're all guilty of this. People know who to talk to. They know how to talk to certain people. I've been guilty of it. Look, sometimes when I'm talking to someone, I treat everybody with respect, but it's like a guy who's like smaller than me, kind of acts weaker than me. He starts getting a little too crazy. I might talk a little crazy to him. But if it's a guy that's like stands his ground and I can tell something's going to happen, if I say the wrong words, I might tone it down a little bit. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or this guy who has a lot of status and he's in control of the mood. He's setting the mood. So I don't want to like overstep my boundary and try to act stupid. And then I look dumb in the press conference because we already seen that happen with Caleb Plant. When Caleb Plant, got into like a shoving match with Canelo and he got smacked up, right? So it's like maybe he's learning from that. He's like, nah, I'm not gonna give him that, so I'm gonna behave myself. And plus, it's Canelo. I'm getting millions of dollars.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
I would say ironically.
Go ahead.
I would say ironically, Caleb Plant is the most ghetto guy at the PBC. He goes up and he'll run up on anybody and like no respect for somebody like Canelo. Yeah. He'll try to slap him in the face.
But is that? This guy's crazy. Caleb Plant's crazy. But one could argue that he did get Canelo into. He got him. He pissed him off, basically, and that maybe turned Canelo into some sort of a different fighter. Do you guys think that makes sense or no? Or what do you think?
Listen, Canelo's gonna always try to go for the knockout. He's gonna try to wear you out. But it's like it's about the person who keeps their cool. Like boxing and combat fighting, we're both very skilled. It's the one that can keep their composure the most, and that has a lot to do with experience and obviously believing in your talent. So I think that you definitely could motivate someone like Bud Crawford when he fought. I hate to go back to him again, but when he saw that he had Spence hurt and he had a chance to make a statement, he didn't let up on it. So a guy like Canelo, what I'm saying is the incentives is always there. You know, it's like if you talk shit to me, you just adding more to it. I want to beat you already, and I want to do it in dramatic fashion. But if you start talking shit to me and you start acting stupid, you're just building me up to do it a little bit more. But of course, I know what it takes to knock a guy out like that, and keeping my composure and believing in my preparation and talent. That's what's going to beat you. That's what's going to get you the stoppage.
Yeah, makes sense. I was just asking a question.
Bucho,
Yes, go ahead.
I was going to mention to you, like yesterday, I dropped a comment and other people were saying it too. I mean, Derek James does look like he has something going on with him, like he's suffering from the same thing. Well, obviously he's sad, like he's got some PTSD going on, but he's depressed like his fighter Errol Spence. Obviously, now he has something to prove. But Eddie Reynoso, he looks very distant, like he's detached. I mean, he's always been kind of like the stern-looking dude. But yeah, he just looks like he's got that 1,000 mile stare, and it's not the eagle eye, man. It's like something's going on with him that I can't quite pinpoint, but he's not himself.
What do you guys think?
Wait, who's he talking about, Charlo?
No, he's talking about Eddie Reynoso. Maybe he's kind of fucked up over that Valdez loss. You know, he failed him again.
Well, yeah. Derek James is coming off another loss as well, right? I mean, Derek James is under some pressure
he
here.
A win with Joshua as well, right?
Yeah, but even some people are saying that performance wasn't even that great. I mean, yes, Joshua got the knockout, but
it was terrible.
It was a terrible performance, and they're blaming Derek James. I mean, even Gonzalo said that. I believe he's trying to make Joshua fight in that Spence style, you know, like throwing straight punches, being very hesitant. By the way, we have a super chat from Roland Curtis. He says, I wouldn't call Caleb Plant the most ghetto guy at the PBC. I do remember Caleb Plant in the middle of the actual fight, persistently trying to have a nice civil conversation with Canelo Alvarez. He did try to have a civil conversation with Canelo Alvarez during the fight, so I guess he wasn't.
That was him, that was him trying to calm Canelo down from knocking the fuck out, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's interesting.
But also, Bucho, doesn't something look wrong with Eddie Reynoso? I mean, he's always been very reserved, but he seems like extra, like detached, like distant, like his mind is not there. Right? Even Canelo said, "Come here to take the picture." Remember at the end?
Yeah, he did. He did have to call him over.
Well, I didn't really notice that, but if there's something wrong with Eddie Reynoso, it could be that, you know, maybe he's starting to realize that he's only good with Canelo. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, this happens with some of these trainers. I mean, they get like Virgil Hunter. What happened to Virgil Hunter? Guys,
nothing. Virgil Hunter is
he's hanging out with his daughter now. What's her name? The singer?
Keisha Cole.
Yeah, there you go. He's hanging out with Keisha Cole now, bro.
Yeah, but like he you could argue he only had one fighter that was successful. That was Andre Ward. You know, and
you can argue that Keisha Cole's mother could have pressed charges on that motherfucker. But yeah, there's a lot of things you can argue about him. He's not a good trainer. That's one thing you can definitely argue. He's not a good trainer at all.
Oh, but Gonzalo makes a good. I mean,
maybe
it could
he's
be
tired
that
of being in the United States. No, because he's from Guadalajara. I mean, he used to be married. I heard in Un Round Más he's divorced. He used to be married to the daughter of Efraín Alacrán Torres. So I mean, even you got the money, it's a lonely world if it's not your town in Mexico. It's not the same thing.
Yeah,
so
but Gonzalo, it's not the first time.
It's
not the first time he's in the U.S. or you know what I mean.
All them years in the inside the gym, just I mean, fuck.
No, I think the Valdez loss affected him because that was a one-sided fight, and there was high expectations for that fight. They were talking about this being a Morales Barrera. And then it was a one-sided fight. Even that's why Valdez was crying, because he's like, "Fuck, I let everybody down." And I am sure Eddie Reynoso feels somewhat the same way.
Yo, Valdez face, man. What the fuck, bro?
Can I just say something real quick about ESPN? Fucking sticking those little weasel cameramen. Fuck you doing in the locker room, shoving your camera. First they did it for Lomachenko, like it's like Days of Our Lives. Who's trying to get it on film? Like, where the fuck are these people's handlers? Where was Reynoso and the team then? They should have been like, get the fuck camera out of here.
Yeah, I remember back in the days. Jimmy, they would try to get into the locker room and somebody would kick them out. They would shut the door on their face.
Exactly.
Yeah, now it's like
they probably have a contract. Oh, they embarrassed fucking Valdez. The same thing they didn't do with Lomachenko, of course, because this slimy people out there. Lomachenko broke down in tears because just emotional release of getting shit.
Yeah, you should never.
In this case, getting robbed. But in this case, they put the camera again in Valdez's face again, like right in his face as he's crying. So of course he catches all this shit on Twitter about crying, because people are heartless and hiding behind fake accounts and saying whatever they want without recourse. So I mean,
that's true. I'm pretty sure a lot of fighters cry.
Protect them.
I'm sure a lot of fighters cry, but we just don't see it.
Of course they do.
Of course they do, man.
Of course they do.
Imagine you put in the work, and let's say you get whitewashed, or you lose by like a horrible decision, or a razor thin fight. Dude, look at Golovkin when Golovkin lost the second fight to Canelo. The first fight, if you look, he's just shaking his head, but he was like still in the ring. The second fight, that was a hard fight. And he said, I put in the fucking work. I beat this dude in his mind, right? But the fight was competitive, and he knows that. He was like, damn, I thought, to me, he displayed some of the best skill set, him and Canelo, in that second fight. Okay, they both did. So Canelo, Golovkin's like, bro, I fucking boxed my ass off in that fight, and it was super close, and he lost, right? That's a sign of emotion. That's like what you don't want is these cameras in the locker room right after a fight. Look, it's the name of the game. It's show business and all that shit. But yeah, if you can block that from happening, that's why they have that image of Lomachenko. To me, not crying like a bitch, crying like a fucking man. That's how a man cries if he's going to. He probably didn't realize the camera was on him. Like he's like, fucking shit, I beat this dude. And they, it wasn't good enough. He's probably saying, man, I'm maybe even like mad at himself for not knocking him out. You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of
mad at himself for fucking taking the 12th round off. I would say that. I think he took it too easy to 12.
Yeah, that's 12 round.
He skated. From what he said the reason why he cried is because he thought about his son. About, Dad, after next time I see you, you're going to be the unified champion of the world, what you've always wanted. So, of course, he's thinking of his son. He's thinking about all that time away from his family, how much he had to work being the smaller guy, the older guy, going against, you know what I mean? And to get robbed, and I don't give a fuck till the day I die, that was a straight gank. That was a robbery. That shit wasn't even fucking close. At best, fucking Haney won 4 rounds, in my opinion. But
I'm with you on that one. Yep.
Well, it's because the funny thing, man, this is why I fucking hate boxing nowadays, because every close round, they're going to swing that round to the fighter they want to give the round to. And even if you try to beat that dude up so you can win the round clearly, the next round you're going to be more tired because you're giving in more than the other fighter because you know it's unfair already. So you're giving more every round just to get the round, and you're getting tired for doing that. That the next round, the dude can fucking he's got better. Man, that shit just fucking pisses me off, man. You know what I mean?
Gonzalo, you know what it is, and you hear this argument, and it's not done in good faith. These arguments are done in bad faith. It's like they're not being honest. They'll be like, "Oh, that round could have went either way," but it never goes either way. It goes one way. It never goes the other way. You know what I'm saying? Like when I watched the Anthony Joshua Usyk fight, and I know there's politics behind it. I know there's like world geopolitics behind that too. But when I saw that Anthony Joshua actually put up a better fight, the second fight, okay, and he won some rounds. He actually won maybe 4 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 5. I would have to look at the fight again. But at least I think anywhere from 3 to 4 solid rounds he could have won. I was shocked when they gave it to Usyk. I mean, the scorecards were still pretty close. You get what I'm saying? Everybody knows who won that fucking fight before it was announced, if you're being honest. And so, like, I lost my train of thought. But okay, no, here it is. My point is this. I'm not penalizing you for a fight that you won, in my opinion. I'm not going to penalize you for that. You know, Golovkin is a great fighter to me because he beat Canelo in the first fight.
Exactly.
Okay, I don't care what the decision says. Lomachenko is a all-time great. He was undisputed. He should have been undisputed champ because he beat Devin Haney, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to penalize him for that. So,
and fuck the judges. I don't celebrate bogus judge decisions, and that's what you're saying. Just because the judge fucking hate, fucking.
If you go on BoxRec,
change my morality around.
If you go on BoxRec, it says Haney won the fight. So,
right, he did technically.
Right.
In terms of the decision, he won the fight. He did, but as a boxing fan, you can't tell me he won the fight. He actually won the fight. No, he did not. He lost, even by your own metric, which is what is it? Punch stats. Okay, even by that own metric, punch stats, he outlanded him by like 15 punches, which is a little over a round a punch every round. Okay, so he landed more punches than him. He won the fight.
He landed more significant punches. He pushed the pace. And if you look at the rounds that Haney won, fucking didn't win him anywhere near as convincing as the fucking rounds Lomachenko won. And then you look at the more punishing punches or the punches that counted the most. At no time was Lomachenko, did you say, oh, Jesus, he's on the verge of going out there. Fucking Haney was grabbing on to fucking Loma a couple of times. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, God, like holding on for dear fucking life. Because he was rocked a few times, even stiff-legged at one time. So there's not a metric you can gauge. There's a reason why professional fighters who normally want to kind of say, you don't want to kind of stay quiet at the end of that shit a lot of times. That was a great fight. Listen, they were going in front of the cameras and saying, are you shitting me? That was a robbery. I mean, there was no gray area. It was a good fight either way. No, it was a fucking robbery. You had guys with 5 million followers on fucking Twitter there, that singer, saying, I will never buy a fucking another box. That was a travesty. I mean, it was across the board. I mean, you can't name one credible journalist who gave that fight to Haney. Not one. That fight was a joke.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm not gonna penalize a fighter for a decision that didn't go their way. Okay. You judge on performance if you're a true boxing fan. Now, if you're a narrative follower, you follow narratives. Fine. Then just say that's what you are. Look. Floyd Mayweather, I just gave praise to Floyd Mayweather. He lost 2 fights that come to mind, for sure, in my opinion. He lost. He lost to Castillo in the first fight, and he lost to Maidana in the second fight. That's my personal opinion, but he's still an all-time great. He fought those guys again, and he won those fights when he fought them in a rematch. I thought he won the second. The 2 rematches versus the fighters that I thought beat him, which was Maidana and Castillo. I thought those guys actually won that fight. I'm not penalizing Maidana
that's
for that. And I'm not penalizing Castillo. They won those fights.
Yeah, hey, recognize. You know what? That's why I don't believe that these old judges don't know what they're looking at. These old judges are savvy and long in the tooth. That when a fighter's doing like what Haney's doing, like when he's going to the body, and all of a sudden people are calling him the body snatcher, and the announcers are going crazy. That's why he won the fight, because when it comes to other fighters, they don't give him the credit for that. So obviously they know how to finagle and fucking and take things and make them look, that they're right about things. They're getting it right. When obviously sometimes they don't pay attention to other things.
This is what I don't like about boxing. Like boxing, I'm sorry, Jimmy, real quick. Boxing fans favor politics when it favors their narrative. And those are not true boxing fans or let's say, people that really want justice, right? Like, just put it on that field. Like social justice, right? These are people, no, they want justice that benefits them. Okay, they're more of an advocacy group than they are a group for human rights, for lack of a better term. So these people are full of shit, bro. That's all it is.
Yeah. And I just want to say, too, I know there was a big narrative for a long time and people calling in. And I found it odd, too. I'm like, man, I didn't hear anything about this offer. Because Top Rank didn't talk about it. But remember there was a thing that Haney offered Shakur a fight, and Shakur turned it down because there wasn't enough money? Well, Bob Arum finally, I don't know if you guys saw that, addressed it. He said there was no kind of offer. That was no kind of offer. I forget the actual terminology, but he's basically, it was an insult, it was a joke. But the point being, he's the promoter. So that offer didn't even entail Top Rank. There was some kind of thing that the fucking Haney's on their own sent over to fucking Shakur. And he said, no, fuck off. So for Bob to come out and say, yeah, Bob said that was no kind of offer. That offer was a joke.
Devin Haney's a manufactured fighter. That's what he is.
Completely.
He's talented. Don't get me wrong. He's got talent, but he's not as good as advertised. So they gotta finesse the boxing fans. Like, technically, you're right. He's got to win over Lomachenko. You get what I'm saying? So it's like that's gonna hold weight. So when you look at his record, you're like, oh, this guy beat Lomachenko. But if you're a real boxing fan, you watch that fight. He did not beat him in the boxing and in the rules of boxing. He didn't win the fight.
Why is he holding on to the belts at 135 so hard? Why is he refusing to give them up? Listen, dude, if you're not going to fight at 135 anymore, if you can't make the weight, you're done, then okay, go. Then I can almost excuse you not running it back with Lomachenko, all right? But you want to hold on to the belts, which tells me you're not done campaigning at 135. So you just avoided a rematch because you didn't run out of the fucking ring like that. He ran out of the fucking ring like he was beating a bar tab. He fucking was getting
guys. I can't handle
hometown.
This Haney hate. It's just out of control. Just out of control.
Hey, Jimmy, and stretching the weigh-in like for over 30 hours to like the new levels, that's fucking crazy, man. Over like a day, almost a day and a half. That's unheard of.
Every advantage. I know, a day and a half, like Steve Kim said, and he wrote in his article, why even have it? Why not have it in the middle of the week? If you're letting a day and a half go by, then how much time you get to sleep? Remember, when you sleep is when you grow. In those 30 hours, you could have slept 18 of them and just put on all kinds of size and shit. And just, it was bullshit, dude. Look at
him in the ring. Jimmy, look at him in the ring compared to Lomachenko. I mean, there's no doubt, unless you're being, again, these are bad faith arguments when you hear that, right? When you say, well, what does your eyes tell you? Who's the much bigger guy? Oh, I mean, they both made the same weight. That's not what I'm talking about, asshole. I'm asking you, inside the ring, who's the much bigger guy? And you can tell right away, it's without a doubt Devin Haney. I would say at least by 10 pounds. At least by 10 pounds.
Then Lomachenko should move down.
Exactly. Right. Well, he should have went back down to 130 and dominate down there.
In the context of combat fighting, you respect those who try to fight the bigger dudes and win those fights. But I guess for them, since they gotta be right, it's like, well, then he should have not done it. Dude, he did it and beat him. What are you talking about? He did it and beat him.
Good point.
You look at polls. There was 200. These two polls combined had 212,000 people, fans, took this poll. 80%, 8 out of 10 people said Lomachenko won. Okay, so that's the fan end of it. The list of fighters is endless. You'd spend 5 minutes reading the fighters who said he won. And then fucking, the biggest thing to me is Vegas. Going into that fight, because of the size, the youth, all those things, in Haney's favor, the weigh-in, they had him a 2-1 favorite to win that fight. Going into the 12th round, because with the new boxing, the new betting, you can bet in the beginning of every round. You can keep betting. And going into the 12th round, Vegas said straight up, he needs a knockout to win. They said it, and that's how they even listed it. And he was so far behind as far as Vegas was concerned that Haney needed to stop Lomachenko to win. So you take that in a totalitarian thing, like all of it. I mean, how can you sit there in good faith? You can't. You're just a box rec hero, and you're saying it because more than likely it's because the guy who looks like you got the decision, and that's all you care about.
All right, guys. Having said that, I gotta go. It's getting late.
Hey, Pucho.
Yes.
Hey, Pucho.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yep.
It's like the equivalent of like when you dehydrate a fighter. It's like the equivalent of like the movie The Gladiator. No, when that dude stabs the dude under the breastplate.
Yeah. Haymanites made a meme about that when he was for the Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis fight. He made a meme and he changed the faces of the characters and the Gladiator.
I didn't see that one. Really?
Yeah. And Maximus, the Gladiator, he was the Ryan Garcia.
Shit.
And Tank was fucking stabbing him because of the rehydration cost. Yeah, it was so funny.
Some of these boxing fans support the guy who did the stabbing. That's who they support.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like you guys are suckers, man. You guys are such suckers. Like, look, man.
Did you guys see
your hero
today?
Your two heroes got spanked. Your two heroes in the last 5-7 years, they got murdered, bro. Not even Spence and Wilder got the shit kicked out of them. Just hold that for a second. Okay? They got the brakes beaten off of them. Not just losing, the brakes beaten off them.
Yeah, what did somebody tweet out? Fucking well, like even Manny Rodriguez, who became a 118-pound champion again over the weekend, looked real good doing it, and it just underscores how great Inoue is, because he fucking. The best way I saw it was he beat him like he was paying for parking. Parking by the hour, pay to park by the hour, meaning he had to get the fuck out. He didn't want to stay around too long.
He made him do the ugly face.
Remember that? He looked at his corner. Oh, yeah. And then for Fulton, I believe in the fourth or fifth round, he could have took him out. I watched the fight again a couple times. Absolutely, he could have taken him out. He had him really hurt in the fourth or fifth. I think he hung him around because that was when he started really needling him, pointing to his hand, and he was talking to him, and he was talking about the race thing. People didn't want to talk about that, but yeah, because they're only saying those nice things about Inoue because he's a Japanese person. Like, there you go, Fulton. You had to go there, huh? Now, how do you like me? He fucking ended up beating you up for that shit, dude.
All right, guys.
Probably shouldn't have said that. It probably would have felt better.
I gotta go. It's getting late.
You gotta go, man. No more. These late night PDAs are pretty cool, though.
Yeah. We should do try it at this time.
I love them.
All right. See you guys. Thanks for joining the show.
All right, gentlemen. You have a great night, guys. Peace.
Everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us for this late night edition of the show. We will have more shows coming up. Definitely an Open Lines Friday. And stay tuned for the Canelo versus Charlo preview documentary. I don't know what you call it. BDA exclusive. All right. Let's give a shout out to people who donated. All right. I don't see them. Oh, yeah. I see the names. The Dog, Earl Stevens, the Boxing Prophet above Boxing Prophets. That's a long ass name. Scale Bender, Uncle Pete, Charles. What the fuck, Charles? Slugger Sam, Roland Curtis, and Don Robo Crip. Thank you for joining us. Donating, I should say. All right. Fuck it. I'm out of here. Good night.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth. No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals. Wait.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man. I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why. It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot. You just killed those fucking men.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. Lomito! Got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.